What if the world's deadliest swordsman was reborn as Konoha's most hated child? In a world where mercy is weakness and honor is everything, Naruto Uzumaki awakens with the soul of a legendary warrior. 3 stolen blades, 1 burning ambition, and 0 tolerance for enemies. This isn't your typical ninja story. This is the birth of a demon who cuts through fate itself.
The night air in Konoha carried the scent of blood. 5-year-old Naruto Uzumaki stood in an alleyway, 3 stolen kitchen knives clutched awkwardly in his small hands, 1 in each hand, and impossibly, 1 clenched between his teeth. Around him lay 4 Chunin-level shinobi, their bodies sprawled in growing pools of crimson beneath the moonlight. "Tish, pathetic," the boy muttered, removing the knife from his mouth. His emerald green eyes, a peculiar color that had replaced his natural blue at birth, held no childish innocence. They were cold as steel, focused, ancient. "All I wanted was some sake. Is that too much to ask?" The child stepped over one of the fallen attackers, who was still breathing shallowly. The man had made the mistake of calling Naruto a demon brat before attempting to drive a kunai into his skull. Naruto had moved with impossible speed, his stolen kitchen knives becoming extensions of his small body as he executed a perfect 3-blade attack that had torn through the man's chest. Which way was my apartment again? Naruto scratched his spiky blonde head, looking in all 4 directions with equal confusion. This village keeps moving its streets around. The streets hadn't moved. Naruto simply possessed the worst sense of direction in Konoha's history. Despite living in the same apartment since he was 3, he routinely got lost trying to find it. Tonight was no exception. Left is probably this way, he decided, heading right. Blood dripped from his stolen knives as he wandered, muttering about sake and complaining about how everything looked the same. He had no idea why he craved the bitter alcoholic drink. He'd never even tasted it. Just as he had no explanation for his uncanny sword skills or his constant directional confusion. These things were simply part of him, as natural as breathing. Hidden in the shadows, an Anbu with a dog mask watched the scene unfold with shock. The boy had just killed 3 Chunin and critically wounded another using nothing but kitchen knives. What's more, he'd done it with a style the Anbu had never seen before, a 3-weapon technique that shouldn't have been physically possible, especially for a child. He disappeared to report to the Hokage, leaving the blood-stained child to wander the empty streets. The 3rd Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, was having a peaceful evening with his pipe when the Anbu appeared in his office. "Lord Hokage, there's been an incident involving Naruto Uzumaki." Hiruzen sighed, lowering his pipe. "What has the boy done now? Another prank?" "No, sir. He's killed 3 Chunin-level shinobi and severely wounded another." The pipe fell from the old man's lips. "What?" "I witnessed it myself. 4 shinobi cornered him in an alley, likely intending harm. Before they could touch him, Naruto attacked with 3 kitchen knives using a sword style I've never seen before. His speed and precision were impossible for a child his age." The Hokage stood. "Where is he now?" "Wandering the village, sir. He seems to be lost." "Again?" Hiruzen pinched the bridge of his nose. Naruto's inability to navigate even the most familiar routes was becoming legendary among the Anbu assigned to watch him. "Bring him to me, and have a team clean up the scene discreetly." "Yes, Lord Hokage." When Naruto was finally brought to the Hokage's office, the boy looked more annoyed than traumatized. There wasn't a hint of remorse in those strange green eyes. "Old man, your village is broken," Naruto complained, crossing his arms. "The streets keep changing." Hiruzen studied the boy carefully. "Naruto, do you understand what happened tonight?" "Some idiots tried to kill me, so I cut them. They were weak." The boy's voice carried none of the childish qualities expected of someone his age. Instead, his tone was deep, serious, matter-of-fact. "Where did you learn to fight like that?" Naruto's brow furrowed. "I didn't learn it. I've always known." "And the 3-knife technique?" "Santoryu," Naruto corrected automatically, though his expression showed confusion at knowing this term. 3-sword style. Though these knives are garbage, I need real swords." The Hokage exchanged glances with the Anbu. This wasn't the first time Naruto had displayed unusual abilities or knowledge that he shouldn't possess. From the moment he could walk, he'd shown an inexplicable affinity for bladed weapons. By 3, he was attempting to train with sticks positioned like swords. Now at 5, he had killed 3 chunin with a sophisticated technique that no one in the village recognized. Naruto, killing is serious. Those men had families. The boy's expression remained unchanged. They tried to kill me first. If you're too weak to protect your life, you don't deserve to keep it. Such cold philosophy from a 5-year-old was disturbing. Yet, the Hokage couldn't entirely disagree with the logic of self-defense, especially given the village's treatment of the boy. "Where are the knives now?" Hiruzen asked. "Lost them. Need better ones anyway." Naruto yawned. "Can I go home now? And can someone show me where it is? I think my apartment moved again." The Hokage nodded to an Anbu. "Take him home and get him 3 training tantos tomorrow. Better he has proper weapons if he's going to defend himself." "Are you sure that's wise, Lord Hokage?" the Anbu questioned. "Better than having him steal kitchen knives and post a permanent guard. I want to know everything about his training methods." As the Anbu led Naruto away, the boy turned back. "Oi, old man, got any sake?" "You're 5 years old." "Naruto." "So, I'm thirsty." The 3rd Hokage watched the strange child leave, wondering what forces had shaped Naruto Uzumaki into something so different from what anyone had expected. The 9-tailed fox sealed within him might explain his stamina and chakra reserves, but not his swordsmanship, his emerald eyes, or his bizarre personality. Something else was at work here, something neither he nor anyone else in Konoha understood. The years passed, and Naruto grew into his abilities. By age 7, he'd mastered the 3 training tantos the Hokage had provided, demonstrating techniques that left his Anbu watchers baffled. His fighting style was nothing like Konoha's traditional swordsmanship. It was wilder, more instinctive, devastatingly effective. At 8, Naruto managed to break into a sake shop, consuming half a bottle before being caught. To everyone's shock, he showed no signs of intoxication despite his young age and small body. Instead, he complained that the sake was too weak and demanded something with actual kick to it. By 9, he developed a reputation throughout Konoha. Civilians feared him for the demon they believed he contained. Shinobi respected and feared him for his growing combat prowess. Children avoided him for his cold demeanor and terrifying green-eyed glare. Naruto seemed unbothered by his isolation, focusing entirely on his self-imposed training regimen. Every day followed the same pattern. Wake at dawn, train with his tantos until noon, attempt to navigate to the academy, usually arriving late after getting hopelessly lost, intimidate his classmates with his presence alone, then train again until exhaustion. The only things that seemed to bring him joy were his blades, rare access to sake, and the occasional bowl of ramen at Ichiraku's, assuming he could find the place. Iruka Umino, Naruto's academy instructor, found the boy both fascinating and disturbing. Unlike the troublemaking prankster the Hokage had prepared him for, this Naruto was serious, focused, and frighteningly skilled. He showed little interest in traditional ninja techniques, barely passing written exams while demonstrating taijutsu capabilities that exceeded many chunin. "Naruto, we're practicing transformation jutsu today," Iruka announced to the class. "Would you like to go first?" The green-eyed boy looked up from where he'd been polishing one of his tantos at his desk, an activity strictly forbidden but that no one dared stop him from doing. "No," he replied flatly. Iruka sighed. "It wasn't actually a request. Please come down and demonstrate the transformation jutsu." With obvious reluctance, Naruto sheathed his tanto, walked to the front of the class, and formed the hand signs with minimal effort. A puff of smoke appeared, and when it cleared, a perfect copy of Iruka stood there, except for the emerald eyes that never changed, no matter what form Naruto took. "Is that satisfactory?" Naruto's voice emerged from Iruka's copied form. "Yes, well done," Iruka nodded, making notes on his clipboard. "Though you should work on transforming your eye color as well." Naruto dispelled the jutsu with a shrug. "Waste of chakra." As he returned to his seat, Iruka couldn't help but notice how the other students, even the usually confident Sasuke Uchiha, leaned away from Naruto's path. The boy carried an aura of danger that children their age could sense instinctively. After class, Iruka approached the Hokage with his concerns. "His skills are extraordinary, but his personality is concerning. He shows no interest in making friends, barely participates unless it involves combat. And those eyes. Iruka shuddered. When he looks at you, it's like being assessed by a predator. The Hokage nodded, reviewing the latest Anbu reports on Naruto's activities. His swordsmanship continues to develop without any formal training. Last week, he cut through a solid oak tree with a single slash of his tanto, a feat that should be physically impossible with a blade that size. Do you think it's the Nine Tails influencing him? No, Hiruzen said firmly. I've consulted with our seal experts. The fourth seal is intact. This is something else entirely. Then what? The Hokage had no answer. None of them did. At 10 years old, Naruto's patience with his training tantos finally ran out. The blades were too small, too light, too weak for the techniques that flowed through his muscle memory. He needed real swords, 3 of them. The compulsion was undeniable. Late one night, he broke into Konoha's armory. The guards never saw him coming. They weren't killed. Naruto saw no honor in killing those who were simply doing their jobs. But they would wake with headaches and bruised pride. Inside, racks of weapons gleamed in the moonlight streaming through high windows. Naruto ignored the kunai, the shuriken, even the standard issue ninja to swords. His eyes locked on 3 particular blades mounted on the far wall, a matched set of katanas with black lacquered sheaths and green wrapped hilts. These would do for now. As his hands closed around the swords, something resonated within him. These weren't perfect, nothing like the swords he somehow knew he should be wielding, but they would serve until he found better. By morning, the theft had been discovered. By afternoon, Anbu had tracked the swords to Naruto's apartment. By evening, the Hokage was again facing the green-eyed boy in his office. You can't steal from the village armory, Naruto. They're mine now, the boy replied, the 3 swords strapped to his hip in an unusual configuration that somehow looked natural on him despite his small stature. I need 3 swords for my style. That's not how ownership works. Is now. The Hokage massaged his temples. Dealing with Naruto had become increasingly difficult over the years. The boy acknowledged no authority except his own code of honor, which seemed to operate on principles no one else fully understood. Those swords belonged to the village. They must be returned. Naruto's hand moved to the hilt of the rightmost sword, his green eyes narrowing. Try to take them. The Anbu guards tensed, ready to intervene, but Hiruzen raised a hand to stop them. The boy's stance, his killing intent, this wasn't an idle threat. Naruto would fight with everything he had for these swords. How about a compromise? The Hokage offered. Prove you can use them properly, and I'll officially assign them to you as training weapons. Fine. Who do I have to cut? Not who, what. Tomorrow morning you'll demonstrate your skills on a series of targets. If you impress me, the swords are yours. Naruto nodded once, his hand relaxing from the sword hilt. Deal. The following morning, a small gathering of Jonin and Anbu assembled at Training Ground 7. 6 wooden posts, each a foot thick, had been arranged in a circle. In the center stood Naruto, 3 swords strapped to his waist, looking irritated at the audience. Begin whenever you're ready, the Hokage called. Without a word, Naruto drew all 3 swords, one in each hand, and to the astonishment of the observers, placed the third in his mouth, gripping it firmly between his teeth. The stance looked ridiculous on a 10-year-old boy, yet somehow also terrifying. Santoryu. Naruto's voice was clear despite the sword in his mouth. He crossed his arms, blades gleaming. Onigiri. He moved in a blur, slashing through all 6 posts in what appeared to be a single motion. For a moment, nothing happened. Then each post slid apart in 3 perfectly clean diagonal cuts, collapsing to the ground. The Jonin and Anbu stared in shocked silence. No child should possess such speed or precision. More disturbing was the technique itself, a 3-sword style that none of them had ever encountered in any of the 5 great nations. Chich. Too easy. Naruto resheathed his swords. These blades need better balance. The Hokage approached slowly, eyeing the devastation. Where did you learn that technique, Naruto? The boy's perpetual scowl deepened. Told you before, I didn't learn it. I've always known it. That's impossible. Clearly not, Naruto retorted, gesturing to the destroyed posts. Hiruzen nodded slowly. The swords are yours, officially, but I want you training under supervision from now on. Don't need a teacher. Nevertheless, you'll have one. Hayate Gecko will oversee your swordsmanship twice weekly. Naruto looked ready to refuse, but then shrugged. Whatever, as long as he doesn't get in my way. As the gathering dispersed, Kakashi Hatake approached the Hokage. I've never seen anything like that. His form, his speed, it's like watching a veteran swordsman in a child's body. Yes, Hiruzen agreed, watching Naruto walk away. The question is, which swordsman? Hayate Gecko's first session with Naruto was an exercise in frustration for Hayate. The chronic cough-afflicted swordsman had arrived with a training regimen designed to correct the fundamentals of a promising but untrained child. What he found instead was a boy whose sword skills already surpassed his own in many respects. Your grip is unconventional, Hayate noted, watching Naruto perform basic katas with 2 swords while holding the third in his mouth. But surprisingly effective. Who taught you to hold a sword with your teeth? No one, Naruto replied, not breaking his rhythm as he slashed through the air. It's Santoryu, 3-sword style, most efficient way to use 3 blades at once. I've never heard of such a style, because I'm the only one who uses it. Hayate coughed into his hand. Let me see your Itoryu, single sword technique. Naruto sheathed 2 of his blades and held the third in his right hand. His stance shifted subtly, becoming somehow more focused, more deadly. Itoryu, Saikuru. The blade moved so quickly that Hayate barely tracked it. A nearby boulder, 3 feet thick, split perfectly in half from a single slash that hadn't even visibly connected with the stone. Impressive, Hayate managed between coughs. That's a ranged cutting technique. Most swordsmen take decades to develop such abilities. Naruto resheathed the blade. This is boring. Are you going to teach me anything useful, or just stand there coughing? The Jonin studied his supposed student with newfound respect. I think we should spar. I need to understand your current level. What followed was less a training session and more a humiliation. Despite Hayate's considerable skill with a blade, he found himself completely outmatched by the 10-year-old. Naruto's 3-sword style was unpredictable, powerful, and executed with a precision that spoke of muscle memory developed over a lifetime. When Hayate finally called a halt, he was breathing heavily, fresh cuts adorning his Jonin vest. Naruto hadn't even broken a sweat. You're holding back, the boy accused. I'm not, Hayate admitted, coughing. Your technique is unique. I've never encountered anything like it. Naruto looked disappointed. Then what's the point of these lessons? Perhaps instead of teaching you swordsmanship, I can help you integrate your style with traditional shinobi techniques. Your Santoryu is powerful, but combining it with ninjutsu or genjutsu could make it unstoppable. For the first time, Naruto showed genuine interest. Like infusing chakra into the blades? Exactly. There are many ways a sword can channel chakra to increase cutting power, range, or add elemental effects. The green-eyed boy nodded thoughtfully. Fine, show me. From that day forward, their sessions focused not on basic sword skills, which Naruto clearly didn't need, but on chakra control, elemental manipulation, and the fusion of swordsmanship with ninja arts. Hayate reported to the Hokage that while he couldn't explain Naruto's inexplicable mastery, he could at least guide it toward becoming a formidable shinobi skill. His chakra reserves are enormous, Hayate explained during one report. When he channels it through his blades, the cutting power increases tenfold. He's already developing techniques that I can barely comprehend, much less counter. Do you believe he poses a danger to the village? The Hokage asked. Hayate considered the question carefully. Not intentionally. Despite his cold demeanor, he adheres to a strict code of honor. He won't attack unless provoked. But anyone who does provoke him, the swordsman shuddered. I wouldn't want to be in their path. The academy graduation exam arrived, and Naruto approached it with his usual disinterest. The written portion he barely passed, answering only the minimum required questions. The practical demonstration of basic jutsu he performed adequately, though he made no effort to hide his boredom. When it came time for the combat assessment, however, his demeanor changed. Green eyes sharpened, focusing on his opponent, Sasuke Uchiha, the top student and last survivor of his clan. Taijutsu only, Iruka instructed. No weapons, no jutsu, begin when ready. Sasuke dropped into the Uchiha clan's traditional fighting stance, his eyes narrowed with determination. Across from him, Naruto stood relaxed, hands hanging loosely at his sides, nowhere near his ever-present swords. "I'll show you the difference between us, dead last," Sasuke declared, using the nickname some students had given Naruto due to his poor academic performance. Naruto didn't respond, didn't move, didn't even seem to be paying attention. This apparent disrespect infuriated Sasuke, who launched forward with a perfectly executed flying kick aimed at Naruto's chest. The kick never landed. Without drawing his swords, Naruto sidestepped with minimal movement, grabbed Sasuke's extended leg, and slammed him face first into the ground with such force that the training yard's packed dirt cracked. Before anyone could react, Naruto had Sasuke pinned, one hand gripping the Uchiha's neck in a hold that could easily become lethal. "Weak," Naruto muttered, releasing his grip and standing. "Not worth my time." Sasuke struggled to his feet, blood trickling from his nose, rage and humiliation burning in his eyes. With a yell, he charged again, abandoning technique for fury. This time, Naruto didn't even dodge. He met Sasuke's charge head-on, blocking a wild punch and countering with a palm strike to the chest that sent the Uchiha flying backward 10 feet. Sasuke hit the ground hard, gasping for breath, the wind completely knocked out of him. "Enough," Iruka called, stepping between them. "Match over. Naruto wins." The green-eyed boy walked away without a backward glance, leaving Sasuke struggling to his feet and the other students whispering in shock. The Academy's star pupil had been completely dominated without Naruto even trying. When the final results were tallied, Naruto passed, barely. His written scores were abysmal, his jutsu demonstration adequate, but his combat skills off the charts. He was assigned to Team 7 under Kakashi Hatake, alongside Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno. The third Hokage had deliberately created this team composition, placing the village's two most problematic prodigies under Konoha's most skilled jonin. If anyone could handle both Naruto's cold lethality and Sasuke's growing darkness, it was Kakashi. The day after team assignments, Naruto arrived at the designated meeting point 3 hours late. Not because he was emulating Kakashi's notorious tardiness, but because he'd gotten lost trying to find the training ground, despite having been there numerous times before. "You're late," Sakura scolded as he finally arrived. "The training ground moved," Naruto replied with absolute conviction. "It's been in the same place for decades, idiot," Sasuke muttered, still nursing his wounded pride from their previous encounter. Naruto ignored him, finding a tree to lean against while they continued waiting for their sensei. He closed his eyes, appearing to nap while standing perfectly upright, one hand resting on his sword hilts. When Kakashi finally appeared 2 hours later, he found an irritated Sakura, a brooding Sasuke, and a seemingly sleeping Naruto. "Sorry I'm late. I got lost on the path of life." "Happens to me too," Naruto commented without opening his eyes. "The paths keep changing." Kakashi blinked in surprise, then chuckled. "Well, let's begin with introductions. Names, likes, dislikes, hobbies, dreams for the future. Who wants to start?" Sakura went first, gushing about Sasuke while revealing little of substance about herself. Sasuke followed with his dark declaration about killing a certain someone and restoring his clan. When it was Naruto's turn, he opened his emerald eyes and spoke without emotion. "Naruto Uzumaki. I like swords, sake, and training. I dislike weaklings who make excuses, people who attack from behind, and getting lost because someone moved the streets. My hobby is becoming stronger. My dream," he paused, a distant look crossing his features, "to become the world's greatest swordsman." "Not to be Hokage?" Kakashi asked, surprised. Most orphans in Naruto's position coveted the village's highest position. "No, being Hokage means paperwork and meetings. Being the greatest swordsman means being free." Kakashi nodded thoughtfully. "Interesting. Well, tomorrow we'll have our first mission together. But first, a little test. Meet at Training Ground 3 at 5 a.m. Oh, and don't eat breakfast. You'll throw up." As the others departed, Kakashi held Naruto back. "Those swords, you become quite skilled with them." "Not skilled enough. These blades are ordinary. I need something better." "Perhaps in time. For now, focus on becoming a team player. Swordsmanship alone won't make you a successful shinobi." Naruto's expression didn't change. "We'll see." The bell test the next morning revealed the true extent of the dysfunctional Team 7 dynamic. Sakura focused entirely on Sasuke. Sasuke focused entirely on proving himself, and Naruto simply attacked Kakashi head-on, all three swords drawn, with no pretense of strategy or teamwork. Santoryu, Toragari, the three blades converged in a tiger-hunting motion that would have decapitated a lesser opponent. Kakashi barely dodged, his visible eye widening at the lethal intent behind the attack. Mama, Naruto! The point is to get the bells, not kill your sensei. If you're dead, taking the bells is easier, Naruto replied, already preparing his next attack. Santoryu Tatsumaki. A twisting dragon-like tornado of slashes erupted from his blades, tearing through the space Kakashi had occupied moments before. Trees behind the Jonin were shredded, their trunks sliced into perfect spiraling segments. That's enough! Kakashi appeared behind Naruto, ready to restrain him, only to find a sword at his throat, the boy having anticipated the maneuver. Never attack from behind, Naruto growled. It's dishonorable. For a brief moment, killing intent flooded the clearing, not from Kakashi, but from the genin holding a blade to his throat. Then it vanished as Naruto lowered his sword. This test is stupid anyway, he declared, resheathing his blades. Bells don't matter. Strength does. In the end, all three genin failed to obtain the bells individually. Kakashi explained the true purpose was teamwork, tied Sasuke to a post for his arrogance, and prohibited Sakura and Naruto from feeding him while he left to report their failure. Naruto waited until Kakashi was gone, then cut Sasuke free with a casual flick of his blade. Eat, he ordered, tossing his own lunch to the Uchiha. But Kakashi-sensei said, Sakura began. If he's too weak from hunger to fight effectively, he's useless to the team, Naruto interrupted, and I don't carry useless people. When Kakashi returned in a thundercloud of rage, Naruto stood protectively in front of his teammates, all three swords drawn. You want to punish someone, punish me, he stated flatly. I cut him free. To their surprise, Kakashi's demeanor instantly changed. You pass, he announced cheerfully. Those who break the rules are trash, but those who abandon their comrades are worse than trash. You showed teamwork, even if Naruto's reasoning was uniquely expressed. Thus began the official formation of Team 7. Their early missions were D-rank chores, catching cats, weeding gardens, painting fences, all of which Naruto approached with the same intensity he applied to sword training. He treated each mundane task as a potential battle, completing his portion with frightening efficiency before disappearing to train. The team dynamic remained strained. Sasuke resented Naruto's effortless superiority in combat. Sakura resented Naruto for outshining her beloved Sasuke, and Naruto seemed indifferent to both of them unless their weakness threatened a mission. Things changed when they received their first C-rank mission, escorting the bridge builder Tazuna to the land of waves. What should have been a simple escort became complicated when they were attacked by the Demon Brothers, revealing that Tazuna had lied about the mission parameters. As the Chunin-level missing nin attacked, Kakashi appeared to be killed, leaving the genin to defend themselves and their client. Sasuke froze momentarily before recovering his composure. Sakura moved to protect Tazuna directly. Naruto didn't hesitate for even a second. Nitoryu, Samon! Drawing two swords, he executed a lightning-fast technique that sliced through the Demon Brothers' poison gauntlets before they could even register his movement. The metal weapons fell apart, and before the Chunin could react, Naruto followed with a spinning attack. Nitoryu, Takanami! A hawk-like wave of compressed air blasted from his swords, slamming both attackers into trees with bone-crushing force. They slumped to the ground, unconscious or dead. Naruto didn't bother to check which. Pathetic, he muttered, resheathing his swords just as Kakashi reappeared, having used a substitution jutsu to fake his death and observe his students' reactions. Good work, Naruto, the Jonin praised, though his visible eyes showed concern at the brutality of the boy's response. Though capturing them alive would have allowed for interrogation. If they were worth interrogating, they wouldn't have been defeated so easily, Naruto replied. The mission continued, despite the revelation of its true difficulty. When they encountered Zabuza Momochi, one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist, Kakashi ordered his genin to protect Tazuna while he handled the dangerous opponent. For once, Naruto obeyed, not out of fear, but out of a swordsman's respect. His green eyes tracked every movement of Zabuza's massive blade with fascination and something akin to hunger. When Zabuza trapped Kakashi in a water prison, however, Naruto's patience ended. Ignoring his sensei's orders to flee, he stepped forward, drawing all three swords. "That's an interesting blade you have," Naruto called to Zabuza, his voice carrying unusual emotion, appreciation. "The Kubiki Ribocho, one of the 7 swords of the mist." Zabuza's eyes narrowed behind his bandages. "A child who knows of the 7 swords? Interesting. Too bad you won't live long enough to learn more." "Naruto, run!" Kakashi ordered from within the water prison. "Take Sasuke and Sakura and protect Tazuna." "That's an order." The green-eyed boy ignored him completely. "I want to test my blades against yours, demon of the mist." Zabuza laughed. "You've got guts, brat, but you're 100 years too early to challenge me." "We'll see." Naruto's stance shifted, his killing intent rising to a level that made even Zabuza pause. "Santoryu, Oni Giri." He launched forward across the water's surface, moving with such speed that he seemed to teleport. His 3-sword attack slammed into the water clone Zabuza had created to intercept him, slicing it into a shower of water droplets without slowing Naruto's charge toward the real Zabuza. Forced to defend himself, Zabuza released the water prison holding Kakashi and swung his massive sword in a horizontal arc that should have bisected the charging genin. Instead, Naruto leapt over the blade, twisting in midair. "Santoryu, Toragari!" The triple blade strike descended towards Zabuza's shoulder. The missing nin barely managed to raise his sword in defense, the impact sending him skidding backward across the water's surface. "Impossible," Zabuza growled, genuine shock in his voice. "What kind of genin are you?" Before Naruto could answer, Kakashi intervened, placing himself between his student and the dangerous opponent. "That's enough, Naruto. I'll handle this." For a moment, it seemed Naruto might defy his sensei again, his green eyes locked hungrily on Zabuza's sword. Then he nodded once and stepped back. "Fine, but his sword is mine when he's dead." The battle resumed with Kakashi facing Zabuza directly, ultimately ending when the fake Hunter Nin Haku intervened to kill Zabuza and remove his body. As they carried an exhausted Kakashi to Tazuna's home, Naruto remained unusually quiet, his thoughts clearly occupied by the encounter. Later that night, while everyone else slept, Naruto sat outside Tazuna's house, methodically sharpening his 3 katanas. Kakashi, recovered enough to move around, joined him. "You disobeyed a direct order today," the Jonin said without preamble. "Your order was stupid," Naruto replied, not looking up from his blade maintenance. "Running would have gotten us all killed. Zabuza would have finished you, then hunted us down one by one." "Perhaps. But as your sensei, my orders are absolute during missions." Naruto finally looked up, his green eyes reflecting the moonlight. "I follow the orders that make sense. I ignore the ones that don't. That's how I stay alive." "That's not how a shinobi operates, Naruto." "Then maybe I'm not meant to be a shinobi." He tested the edge of one blade with his thumb. "But I am a swordsman, and that sword of Zabuza's, I want it." Kakashi studied his student carefully. "Why? You already have 3 perfectly good swords. These are just ordinary steel. The Kubikiribocho is one of the 7 legendary swords. It repairs itself using the iron from blood it spills." Naruto's eyes gleamed with an almost religious reverence. "A sword worthy of becoming the world's greatest swordsman. Zabuza isn't dead, you know? That Hunter Nine was his accomplice." "I know. I'll face him again." Naruto resumed sharpening his blade. "And next time, I won't hold back." The second confrontation with Zabuza came sooner than expected. While Kakashi trained Sasuke and Sakura in tree-walking chakra control, which Naruto had somehow mastered years ago without instruction, Naruto spent his time in the forest, pushing his sword techniques to new heights. During one such training session, he sliced clean through a massive tree with a single sword strike, causing it to topple with a thunderous crash. As the dust settled, a figure appeared in a swirl of mist. "Impressive for one so young," said Haku, still wearing the Hunter Nin mask. "Your swordsmanship," he turned to leave, then paused. "By the way, do you have someone precious to protect?" The question hung in the air between them. Naruto's green eyes focused on something distant, beyond the forest, beyond the present moment. "I did once," he said softly, the words emerging without conscious thought. "A captain, Nakama." He shook his head sharply, as if clearing cobwebs. "What am I saying? No, I fight for myself, for my ambition." Haku studied him for a long moment. "I see. Then you may never reach your full potential. True strength comes when protecting someone precious." With that, he disappeared in a swirl of mist, leaving Naruto standing alone among the fallen trees, an uncharacteristic expression of confusion on his face. The final battle at the bridge came a week later. Through intensive training, Sasuke had developed impressive speed and control, while Sakura had refined her already excellent chakra manipulation. Naruto, meanwhile, had spent days developing a new technique, one that would decisively end his coming duel. When Zabuza's mist enveloped the bridge, Team 7 took their positions around Tazuna. Kakashi moved to engage Zabuza directly, while Sasuke found himself trapped within Haku's crystal ice mirrors. Sakura remained with Tazuna as the last line of defense. Naruto, however, had other plans. Ignoring Haku's deadly dome of ice mirrors where Sasuke was fighting a losing battle, he walked directly toward the sound of clashing metal, towards Zabuza and Kakashi. "Naruto, help Sasuke!" Sakura called after him. Sasuke chose his fight. "I'm choosing mine," Naruto replied without looking back. The Uchiha needs to learn to stand on his own feet. He strode through the mist, following the sounds of combat with perfect accuracy despite his usual directional challenges. When he emerged into a small clearing in the fog, he found Kakashi and Zabuza locked in lethal combat, both already wounded. "Sensei," Naruto called, drawing all three swords. "Step aside, he's mine." Kakashi dodged a massive swing from Zabuza's blade. "This isn't the time, Naruto. Go help Sasuke." "The Uchiha will live or die by his own strength," Naruto insisted, stepping forward. "But that sword belongs to me." Zabuza laughed, his bandages shifting with the movement. "The brat returns! Still think you can take my Kubikira Bocho boy? I don't think. I know." Naruto's voice carried absolute conviction. "Kakashi-sensei, this is my fight." Before Kakashi could protest further, a scream echoed from the direction of Haku's ice mirrors, Sasuke's voice filled with pain. The Jonin hesitated, torn between continuing his battle with Zabuza and saving his other student. "Go," Naruto ordered. "The Uchiha needs you more than I do." After a moment's hesitation, Kakashi nodded. "Don't die, Naruto. That's an order." "Not planning to." As Kakashi disappeared into the mist toward Sasuke's position, Zabuza turned his full attention to Naruto. "Brave but foolish, brat. What makes you think you can defeat one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist?" Naruto placed the white-hilted katana in his mouth, drawing the other 2 with his hands. "Because I'm going to be the world's greatest swordsman, and that means defeating anyone who stands in my way." For the first time, something like respect flickered in Zabuza's eyes. "Big dreams for a little genin. Let's see what you've got." What followed was a sword duel unlike anything the Land of Waves had ever witnessed. Zabuza's massive cleaver moved with impossible speed and power, while Naruto's 3-sword style created a whirlwind of slashing attacks that somehow matched the Jonin's strength. "Santoryu, Toragari!" Naruto launched himself forward, his 3 blades converging in a tiger-hunting strike. Zabuza blocked with the flat of his massive sword, the impact sending tremors through the bridge. "Not bad, kid, but not good enough." He countered with a horizontal slash that would have bisected Naruto if the boy hadn't leapt over it with acrobatic precision. In midair, Naruto twisted his body. "Santoryu, Hyakuhachi Pound Ho!" A massive air pressure cannon blasted from his 3 swords, slamming into Zabuza with enough force to crack the concrete beneath his feet. The missing 9 staggered backward, genuine surprise in his eyes. "Impossible," he growled. "That technique. How does a genin know such advanced sword manipulation?" Naruto landed gracefully, immediately charging forward to press his advantage. "I told you, I'm going to be the world's greatest swordsman." Zabuza's eyes narrowed. "You keep saying that phrase. It reminds me of someone I heard about years ago. A foreigner with 3 swords who challenged Kasame Hoshigaki." "Don't know, don't care." Naruto cut him off, preparing his next attack. "Your sword is what matters to me." The battle intensified, both swordsmen drawing blood with glancing blows. Zabuza's experience and raw power gave him an edge, but Naruto's unusual style and frightening intensity kept him on the defensive more often than he expected. Finally, after trading dozens of strikes, they separated, both breathing heavily. Blood trickled from cuts on Naruto's arms and torso, while Zabuza's bandages were stained crimson in multiple places. "You're good, brat," Zabuza admitted. "Better than any genin has a right to be, but playtime is over." He formed hand signs with blinding speed. "Water style, water dragon jutsu." A massive dragon of water rose from the ocean below the bridge, roaring toward Naruto with devastating force. The boy stood his ground, crossing his swords before him, Santoryu Ogi. His green eyes narrowed, focused entirely on the incoming water dragon. Sanzen Sekai! He executed a circular spinning slash with all three swords, creating a vacuum vortex that collided with the water dragon. For a moment, the two techniques battled for dominance, then both exploded in a massive shower of water that drenched the entire bridge. Through the resulting mist charged Naruto, all three swords poised for his ultimate attack. Santoryu Juki Yuzume. The technique struck with the force of a rampaging bull, all three blades connecting simultaneously with Zabuza's hastily raised sword. There was a moment of resistance, then the sound of metal giving way. The Kubikira Bocho, one of the legendary 7 swords, cracked at its center from the force of Naruto's attack. Zabuza stared in disbelief at his damaged weapon. Impossible. This sword has never. He didn't finish the sentence. Naruto's follow-up attack caught him across the chest, opening a long but shallow wound. The missing 9 stumbled backward, blood flowing from the cut. It's over, Naruto declared, pointing one sword at Zabuza's throat. Your sword is mine. Before Zabuza could respond, slow clapping echoed through the dissipating mist. Gato appeared at the end of the bridge, flanked by dozens of mercenaries. Well, the shipping magnate sneered. The great demon of the mist defeated by a child. How pathetic. Zabuza's eyes narrowed. Gato, what is the meaning of this? A simple business decision. Why pay a high-priced missing nin when I can hire these thugs for a fraction of the cost? They'll finish what you couldn't, killing the bridge builder and everyone protecting him. Naruto resheathed 2 of his swords, keeping one drawn as he assessed the new threat. So the real enemy appears. Gato smirked, pointing his cane at Zabuza. Kill him first. I want to see the demon die like the dog he is. The mercenaries advanced, weapons drawn. Zabuza turned to Naruto, his demeanor changed. It seems our duel must wait, boy. I have a new target now. He hefted his cracked sword. Gato has betrayed me, and worse, he has insulted my pride as a swordsman. Naruto nodded once. A dishonorable death for a dishonorable man. Without another word, Zabuza charged into the mass of mercenaries, his damaged Kubikira Bocho cleaving through them despite its compromised state. Naruto watched for a moment, then joined the fray, his single drawn blade flashing as he cut down mercenaries with casual efficiency. Together, the two swordsmen, bitter enemies moments before, carved a bloody path toward Gato. The shipping magnate's smug expression transformed to terror as he realized his hired muscle was no match for their combined fury. Wait! I can pay you! Double what we agreed, Gato stammered as Zabuza approached, blood-drenched and demonic in appearance despite his wounds. There isn't enough money in the world, Zabuza growled, raising his blade for the killing blow. The Kubikira Bocho descended and shattered completely, its crack finally giving way under the stress of combat. The broken pieces clattered to the bridge as Gato scrambled backward. Without hesitation, Naruto tossed one of his swords to Zabuza. The missing 9 caught it reflexively, his eyes meeting Naruto's green ones in a moment of understanding. Finish it, Naruto said simply. Zabuza nodded, turned, and with a single perfect strike, separated Gato's head from his shoulders. As the shipping magnate's body collapsed, Zabuza handed the borrowed sword back to Naruto. You fight well, brat. What's your name? Naruto Uzumaki. Remember this day, Naruto Uzumaki, the day you earned the respect of Zabuza Momochi. He looked at his shattered blade with genuine sorrow. Take what remains of the Kubikira Bocho. If anyone has earned the right to possess it, you have. Before Naruto could respond, Zabuza staggered, blood loss from his numerous wounds finally taking its toll. He collapsed to his knees just as Kakashi appeared, carrying an injured but alive Sasuke. Nearby, Haku lay unconscious, defeated but not killed. It's over, Kakashi observed, taking in the carnage on the bridge. The village is safe. Naruto knelt beside the fallen Zabuza, gathering the fragments of the legendary sword. Not over, just beginning. The great Naruto Bridge stood completed, connecting the land of waves to the mainland and ensuring the small nation's economic independence. Team 7 prepared to return to Konoha, their mission finally accomplished despite its unexpected escalation. At the foot of the bridge, Naruto stood apart from his team, carefully wrapping the shattered pieces of the Kubikira Bocho in cloth. Though broken, he refused to leave the legendary blade behind. "What will you do with it?" Kakashi asked, approaching his student. "Even the best smiths in Konoha might not be able to repair a blade of that caliber." "I'll find a way," Naruto replied with absolute certainty. "This sword chose me. It will be whole again." Kakashi raised an eyebrow. "Swords don't choose people, Naruto." The green-eyed boy looked up, his expression deadly serious. "This one did, just like my 3 katanas chose me. A swordsman knows these things." Rather than argue, Kakashi changed the subject. "You disobeyed orders again, engaging Zabuza alone. And I won." "You were lucky. If Gato hadn't arrived when he did." "It wasn't luck," Naruto interrupted. "I would have defeated him regardless. The outcome was decided the moment we crossed blades." Such confidence would have sounded like arrogance from anyone else, but Kakashi had witnessed enough of Naruto's inexplicable skills to recognize it as simple statement of fact. The boy truly believed he would have won, and perhaps he would have. "Either way," Kakashi continued, "when we return to Konoha, I want you to start focusing more on teamwork. Sasuke and Sakura are your comrades. Their battles are your battles." Naruto's gaze drifted to where Sasuke stood, still recovering from his near-death experience against Haku. The Uchiha had awakened his Sharingan during the fight, emerging stronger despite his defeat. "The Uchiha needs to find his own strength," Naruto said. "Carrying him will only make him weaker in the long run." "That's not how teams work." "Maybe not, but it's how swordsmen work." Naruto secured the wrapped bundle of sword fragments to his back. "We each forge our own path." As Team 7 departed, the villagers cheered and waved, grateful for their liberation from Gato's tyranny. Tazuna approached Naruto before he could leave. "The bridge is named after you." "You know?" the bridge builder said proudly. "The Great Naruto Bridge." The boy shrugged. "Should have named it after Zabuza. He's the one who killed Gato." "With your sword," Tazuna pointed out. "And besides, bridges are meant to connect people. From what I've seen, you could use more connections in your life, boy." Naruto's perpetual scowl softened slightly. "Bridges also get crossed and left behind. But a sword stays with you always." With that cryptic statement, he turned and followed his team, the broken legendary sword on his back and his 3 faithful katanas at his hip. Though he'd never admit it, a small part of him appreciated having his name attached to something that would endure for generations. Even if he did get lost trying to find the right end of the bridge to depart from, the Chunin exams arrived 6 months after Team 7's return from the Land of Waves. During that time, Naruto had focused on 2 primary goals: repairing the shattered Kubikiri Bocho and developing new sword techniques. The first goal proved challenging. No blacksmith in Konoha possessed the knowledge to repair a blade of such unique properties. The sword was designed to repair itself using the iron from blood it spilled, but with the blade in fragments, this regenerative ability lay dormant. Naruto refused to give up. He studied scrolls on metallurgy, interrogated weapon specialists, and even attempted to repair it himself with disastrous results. Finally, he discovered an ancient technique in a forbidden scroll he'd borrowed from the Hokage's private collection, a method for infusing chakra directly into metal to restore its original properties. The technique required massive chakra reserves and perfect control, a combination few shinobi possessed. Fortunately, Naruto had the former in abundance thanks to the 9 tails seal sealed within him. The latter he developed through relentless practice. For weeks, he channeled chakra into the broken sword fragments for hours each day, slowly fusing them together not just physically but spiritually. The process left him exhausted, but gradually the legendary blade began to reform. By the time the Chunin exams were announced, the Kubikiri Bocho was whole again, though it now bore faint seams where the breaks had been, like scars that told the story of its rebirth. More importantly, its blood absorption ability had been restored, allowing it to strengthen itself with each enemy it cut. The massive sword remained wrapped and secured on Naruto's back, alongside his 3 faithful katanas. He hadn't yet used it in combat, saving it for a worthy opponent. That opponent might well appear during the Chunin exams, where genin from all 5 great nations would compete to advance in rank. Team 7 was among the rookies nominated by their sensei to participate. "Are you sure they're ready?" Iruka had questioned Kakashi privately. "Especially Naruto. His skills are extraordinary, but his teamwork is practically non-existent. His teamwork is improving, Kakashi defended, though without much conviction. And his combat abilities more than compensate for his social challenges. The truth was that Naruto had become even more isolated since returning from the land of waves. His training consumed him, and when not training, he often disappeared for days, returning with new techniques and occasionally stories of getting hopelessly lost in forests that were barely a mile from the village gates. The first stage of the Chunin exams, a written test designed to evaluate information gathering, presented an unexpected challenge for Naruto. His academic skills remained his weakest point, and cheating was the expected solution. While Sasuke used his Sharingan to copy another contestant's pencil movements, and Sakura simply knew most of the answers, Naruto sat staring at his blank paper with growing irritation. "This is stupid," he finally muttered, loud enough for nearby contestants to hear. "What does any of this have to do with being a Chunin?" He considered using his swords to threaten the answers out of someone, then decided it wasn't worth the effort. Instead, he closed his eyes and appeared to fall asleep at his desk, his blank test paper untouched. When Ibiki Morino, the proctor, announced the 10th question, a psychological test where teams could leave or risk permanent Genin status, Naruto didn't even open his eyes. "Just get on with it," he called out from his feigned sleep. "Some of us have real training to do." His brazen attitude inspired other contestants to stay despite their fears. When Ibiki revealed the true purpose of the test, to evaluate decision-making under pressure, everyone who remained automatically passed to the second stage. "You got lucky, dead last," Sasuke commented as they followed their new proctor, Anko Mitarashi, toward the Forest of Death. "Sleeping through the first test won't work for the next one." "Wasn't sleeping," Naruto replied. "Was meditating on new sword techniques, more useful than your eye-copying tricks." Before Sasuke could retort, Anko interrupted by throwing a kunai that sliced Naruto's cheek, drawing blood. She appeared behind him in a flash, licking the blood from his face in a display meant to intimidate the Genin. "Tough talk from such a small blade user," she taunted. Without warning, Naruto's killing intent spiked to levels that made even the special Jonin step back. His hand moved to his sword hilts, green eyes cold as Arctic ice. "Touch me again without permission," he said quietly, "and I'll show you what these blades can do." The tension was broken by the arrival of a grass ninja returning Anko's kunai with an unnaturally long tongue. Naruto's attention immediately shifted to this newcomer, his instincts screaming danger. "That one," he murmured to his teammates once Anko had moved on to explain the rules of the survival exercise. "Not what they appear to be. Watch them." Sasuke and Sakura exchanged glances. While they often dismissed Naruto's antisocial behavior, they'd learned to trust his combat instincts. The second stage began with each team receiving either an Earth or Heaven scroll. They needed to obtain the opposite scroll by defeating another team, then reach the central tower within 5 days. Team 7 received an Earth scroll and immediately headed into the forest. "We should set traps and ambush another team," Sasuke suggested as they leaped through the trees. "Waste of time," Naruto countered. "Let's find the grass team with the tongue user. They're hiding something, probably strength." "And that's a good thing because," Sakura questioned, "strong opponents mean a good fight." Naruto's expression showed the closest thing to enthusiasm he ever displayed. "Besides, they were watching us specifically. They'll come to us anyway." His prediction proved accurate. On the second day, the grass ninja ambushed Team 7 in a clearing. A massive wind technique separated Naruto from his teammates, blowing him far into the dense forest. When he recovered, his first instinct was to return to his team. Unfortunately, his terrible sense of direction immediately betrayed him. Despite having a clear mental image of where he needed to go, his body insisted on taking him in completely random directions. "Stupid forest keeps changing," he muttered, cutting through dense undergrowth with one of his katanas. "Left should be this way." It wasn't. After an hour of wandering, he found himself facing 3 rain ninja who mistakenly believed they'd found easy prey in a lone leaf genin. "Hand over your scroll, kid, and we might let you live," their leader demanded. Naruto sighed, drawing all 3 of his regular swords. "Don't have time for weaklings. Santoryu, Onigiri. The battle lasted exactly 8 seconds. When it ended, all 3 Rain Ninja lay unconscious, their Heaven Scroll now in Naruto's possession. That was disappointing, he commented to no one in particular, tucking the scroll into his jacket. Now, which way back to Sasuke and Sakura? By pure chance, or perhaps fate, his random wandering eventually brought him back toward his team's location. What he found there chilled even his battle-hardened blood. Sasuke and Sakura were facing not a grass genin, but Orochimaru himself, one of the legendary Sannin. The snake summoner had revealed his true identity and was in the process of driving his teeth into Sasuke's neck, imparting the cursed seal of heaven. Naruto didn't hesitate. In one fluid motion, he unwrapped the massive Kubikiri Bocho from his back and drew it alongside one of his katanas. Nitoryu, Rashomon! The dual sword quick draw technique created a slashing wave that forced Orochimaru to disengage from Sasuke, though not before the curse mark had been applied. The Sannin turned toward the new threat, his face partially melted to reveal his true features. Ah, the Nine-Tails Jinchūriki, Orochimaru hissed, his serpentine eyes widening at the sight of the legendary sword in Naruto's hand. And wielding the Kubikiri Bocho, no less. How fascinating! Get away from my teammates, Naruto growled, the massive executioner's blade looking impossible in the hands of a genin. Yet he wielded it as if it weighed nothing. Orochimaru's tongue flicked out, tasting the air. Such killing intent from one so young. But do you really think you can challenge a Sannin, boy? In response, Naruto charged, the Kubikiri Bocho in his right hand and a katana in his left. Nitoryu, Nigiri Hirameki! The dual sword flash attack would have decapitated a lesser opponent. Orochimaru merely bent his body at an impossible angle, the blades passing harmlessly through the space where his neck had been. Impressive speed, the Sannin commented, but futile. He countered with a barrage of snakes erupting from his sleeve. Naruto cut them down mid-air, the Kubikiri Bocho cleaving through the reptiles with ease. Their blood was absorbed into the blade, the faint seams of its repair glowing momentarily as they grew less visible. That sword truly is remarkable, Orochimaru observed. Almost as remarkable as your skill with it. No genin should be able to wield the Kubikiri Bocho one-handed. Naruto didn't waste breath responding. He pressed his attack, combining the massive reach of the executioner's blade with the quick precision of his katana. Each strike forced Orochimaru to defend or dodge, preventing him from launching his own attacks. For a brief moment, Naruto managed to push one of the legendary Sannin onto the defensive, a feat unheard of for a genin. But Orochimaru was merely testing him, evaluating his capabilities with scientific detachment. Enough play, the Sannin decided, forming hand signs with blinding speed. Wind style, great breakthrough. The massive gust slammed into Naruto, sending him crashing through several trees. Before he could recover, Orochimaru was upon him, his neck extending unnaturally to bring his face inches from Naruto's. You intrigue me, boy, such raw talent with a blade. Perhaps I should give you a gift as well. Before the Sannin could strike, Naruto's free hand moved to his mouth, placing his third sword between his teeth in a desperate maneuver. Santoryu, Toragari! The sudden three-sword attack caught Orochimaru by surprise, forcing him to retract his extended neck to avoid decapitation. The brief opening allowed Naruto to regain his footing, all 3 blades now drawn, the massive Kubikiri Bocho in his right hand, a katana in his left, and the third clenched between his teeth. Fascinating, Orochimaru breathed, genuine interest in his serpentine eyes. A 3-sword style using the Kubikiri Bocho? I've never seen its like. Naruto didn't respond verbally, unable to speak clearly with a sword in his mouth. Instead, he channeled chakra into all 3 blades, preparing for his most powerful technique, Santoryu Oji. His green eyes narrowed, focused entirely on his opponent. Sanzen Sekai! The 3,000 Worlds technique created a tornado of slashing attacks, each blade moving independently, yet in perfect harmony. Trees, rocks, and earth were shredded in the technique's path as it bore down on Orochimaru. For the first time, the showed genuine concern, forming hand signs for a defensive jutsu. Summoning, triple Rashomon. 3 massive demonic gates erupted from the ground, forming a barrier between him and Naruto's attack. The Santoryu technique slammed into the first gate with devastating force. cutting completely through it and partially through the second before finally being stopped by the third. Orochimaru emerged from behind his defense, a calculating expression on his face. Most impressive. You've actually damaged my triple Rashomon. Few Jonin could accomplish such a feat. Naruto stood panting, the massive chakra expenditure of his ultimate technique taking its toll. The Kubikiri-bocho felt heavier in his hand, though its blade glowed faintly as it absorbed the blood from the snakes he'd slain earlier. However, it seems you've reached your limit, Orochimaru observed. A pity. I would have enjoyed testing you further. Instead of attacking, however, the Sannin merely smiled. I came for Sasuke-kun today, not you, but rest assured, Naruto Uzumaki, our paths will cross again. I'll be watching your progress with great interest. With that, he sank into the ground, disappearing before Naruto could recover enough to pursue. When Naruto finally made his way back to his teammates, he found Sasuke unconscious, the curse mark pulsing on his neck, and Sakura frantically trying to lower his fever. What happened? She demanded. Where were you? Got lost, Naruto replied simply, resheathing his swords. Found this, though. He tossed her the heaven scroll he'd taken from the rain team. We have both scrolls now, Sakura realized. But Sasuke-kun? He's in no condition to travel. Naruto studied the unconscious Uchiha, noting the malevolent chakra emanating from the curse mark. Without a word, he hefted Sasuke over his shoulder, then picked up Sakura with his free arm. Hey, what are you doing? She protested. Getting to the tower, he replied. Hold the scrolls. Despite being weighed down by both teammates, Naruto moved through the forest with impressive speed. His terrible sense of direction still plagued him, turning what should have been a direct path into a winding, circuitous route that took nearly a full day. We're going in circles, Sakura complained after recognizing the same distinctive tree for the third time. The forest keeps moving, Naruto insisted, completely serious. Eventually, through what could only be described as geographic luck, they reached the central tower. Opening both scrolls simultaneously summoned Iruka, who was shocked by their condition. What happened to Sasuke? He demanded, helping Naruto place the unconscious Uchiha on a nearby cot. Orochimaru, Naruto replied bluntly, put some kind of mark on him. Iruka's face paled. Orochimaru? The Sannin? And you survived? Fought him, Naruto corrected, adjusting the massive sword on his back. Couldn't finish it, not yet. The casual way he spoke of fighting a legendary Sannin, as if it were merely a postponed match rather than an impossible battle, left Iruka speechless. Medical ninja were summoned to attend to Sasuke, while Naruto and Sakura were guided to their assigned quarters to rest before the next stage. As they walked, Sakura glanced at her green-eyed teammate. You actually fought Orochimaru, didn't you? That's why it took you so long to find us. No, found you quickly. Fought him there. Naruto's face showed rare frustration. Then got lost trying to find the tower. But you're just a genin. How did you survive against a Sannin? Naruto's hand drifted to the hilt of the Kubikiri-bocho. Good swords, strong will, not strong enough yet though. His green eyes narrowed with determination. Next time will be different. Sakura studied him with newfound respect. For all his antisocial behavior and apparent disregard for teamwork, Naruto had faced one of the most dangerous ninja in the world to protect them. More importantly, he'd survived, even landed blows significant enough to force Orochimaru to defend seriously. Thank you, she said quietly, for coming back for us. Naruto looked genuinely confused by her gratitude. We're on the same team. It's expected. Not everyone would have charged in against a Sannin, he shrugged. Sannin, Jonin, Kage, just titles. Strength is what matters, and I will be the strongest. As they parted ways to their separate quarters, Sakura couldn't help but wonder about the enigma that was Naruto Uzumaki. Everything about him defied explanation. His inexplicable sword skills, his monstrous strength, his absolute confidence, and those haunting green eyes that seemed to belong to someone far older than a 13-year-old boy. The preliminary matches began after a brief recovery period. With too many teams having passed the second stage, one-on-one elimination battles would determine who advanced to the finals. Sasuke, still weakened by the curse mark but conscious, was matched against a sound ninja named Yoroi. Despite Kakashi's warnings about using chakra, Sasuke's pride forced him to fight at full capacity, inadvertently activating the curse mark mid-battle. Though he ultimately won, Kakashi immediately took him away to seal the malevolent mark. Sakura fought to a draw against her rival Ino, both girls knocking each other unconscious in a battle of mental jutsu. Other preliminary matches showcased the diverse talents of Genin from different villages. Shino's strategic use of insects, Tamari's wind techniques, Gaara's deadly sand manipulation. When Naruto's name appeared on the randomized board matched against Kiba Inuzuka, the dog user grinned confidently. "Lucky, we got the dead last swordsman," he told his Ninken partner Akamaru. "This'll be easy." Naruto said nothing as he descended to the arena floor. Unlike his previous matches, he left the massive Kubikira Bocho wrapped on his back, drawing only his 3 standard katanas. Swords against a close combat specialist like Kiba? Kurenai Yuhi, Kiba's sensei, questioned from the observation deck. "Isn't that disadvantageous in such a confined space?" Kakashi, who had returned from sealing Sasuke's curse mark, shook his head. "Watch closely. You're about to see why Naruto earned a reputation in Wave Country." The proctor, Hayate Gecko, raised his hand. "Begin!" Kiba immediately activated his 4 legs technique of dropping to all 4s as his nails extended into claws and his canine features became more pronounced. "Let's go, Akamaru! We'll finish this quickly!" The pair charged with impressive speed, attacking from 2 directions simultaneously. It was a tactic that had overwhelmed many opponents, but Naruto merely stood motionless, 3 swords drawn, waiting. Fang over fang! Kiba and Akamaru transformed into twin drilling tornadoes, spiraling toward Naruto from opposite sides. At the last possible instant, Naruto moved. Santoryu Tatsumaki! His counter technique created a dragon-like tornado of his own, meeting the dual drills head-on. There was a clash of forces, a momentary struggle. Then Kiba and Akamaru were sent flying in opposite directions, both bleeding from multiple shallow cuts. "What the hell?" Kiba growled, struggling to his feet. "How did you counter our fang over fang?" Naruto reset his stance, the sword in his mouth gleaming under the arena lights. "Your technique is just a spinning attack. Mine is a dragon twister. Dragons eat dogs." Enraged, Kiba fed Akamaru a soldier pill, causing the small dog's fur to turn red as his power increased. "Let's show him our full strength, Akamaru! Beast human clone!" In a puff of smoke, Akamaru transformed into a perfect copy of Kiba. The duo charged again, moving even faster than before, their coordinated attacks coming from all angles. Naruto remained calm, his green eyes tracking every movement with preternatural awareness. When the twin Kibas attacked with another fang over fang, he didn't counter directly. Instead, he leapt over them, twisting in midair. Santoryu! Hyakuhachi Pound Ho! The 108-pound cannon technique blasted both spinning attackers from above, slamming them into the arena floor with enough force to crater the stone. When the dust cleared, Kiba lay unconscious, while Akamaru had reverted to his dog form, whimpering in pain. Naruto landed gracefully, resheathing his swords. "Proctor, it's over." Hayate nodded, stifling a cough. Winner, Naruto Uzumaki. The entire match had lasted less than 2 minutes. Naruto had defeated one of the most promising tracking specialists in Konoha without taking a single hit. "Impossible," Kurenai whispered, watching Medical Ninja carry her student away. "Kiba's speed and coordination with Akamaru are exceptional. How could anyone counter fang over fang so easily?" "It's not just the technique," Kakashi explained. "It's Naruto's perception. He sees attacks before they fully develop, almost like a Sharingan user, but different. It's as if he can sense intent rather than just movement." "Observation haki," Naruto muttered as he rejoined them on the observation deck, having overheard their conversation. "What was that?" Kakashi asked. The green-eyed boy looked momentarily confused, as if he'd spoken without thinking. "Nothing. Just something I've always known." The preliminaries continued, with Gaara's match against Lee proving particularly brutal. The taijutsu specialist's incredible speed and strength pushed Gaara to his limits, but ultimately Lee's body gave out under the strain of opening 5 inner gates. Gaara's sand crushed Lee's arm and leg before Might Guy intervened to save his student's life. Throughout the match, Naruto watched with unusual intensity, his green eyes tracking every movement. When Gaara's sand armor cracked, revealing the unstable jinchūriki beneath, Naruto's hand unconsciously moved to the hilt of the Kubikira Bocho on his back. "That one," he murmured to Kakashi. He's like me, but broken inside. Dangerous. The Jonin nodded slightly. You sense the one tail within him? No, I sense his killing intent. It's indiscriminate. No honor, no purpose, just bloodlust. For Naruto, whose every action was guided by his code of the swordsman, such unfocused savagery was worse than mere evil. It was an abomination. When the preliminary matches concluded, the advancing Genin drew numbers to determine their opponents in the finals, scheduled for 1 month later. Naruto drew the match against Neji Hyuga, the prodigy of the Hyuga clan, whose gentle fist technique had brutally defeated his cousin Hinata. As the Genin dispersed to begin their month of training, Kakashi approached Naruto. I'll be focusing on Sasuke's training this month, the Jonin explained. The curse mark requires specialized attention, and he's matched against Gaara in the first round. Naruto nodded, unsurprised. The Uchiha needs more help than I do. That doesn't mean I'm abandoning your training. I've arranged for a special instructor to work with you, someone who might offer insights into your unique style. Don't need a teacher, Naruto insisted, adjusting the massive sword on his back. Just need to train harder. Kakashi sighed. Just meet him at the hot springs tomorrow at noon. His name is Jiraiya. He's one of the Sannin. For the first time, Naruto showed genuine interest. Sannin? Like Orochimaru? His former teammate, yes. If anyone can help you prepare to face Neji and potentially Orochimaru again, it's him. The green-eyed boy considered this, then nodded once. Fine, hot springs at noon. He turned to leave, then paused. Which direction are the hot springs from here? Kakashi suppressed a smile beneath his mask. For all his extraordinary abilities, Naruto's inability to navigate even the most familiar locations remained his most human quality. I'll have Sakura show you tomorrow, he promised. Otherwise, we might not see you again until the finals. The month of training began with Naruto getting hopelessly lost trying to find the hot springs, despite Sakura's detailed directions. He eventually arrived 5 hours late, having somehow ended up at the village gates twice and the Hokage monument 3 times. The streets keep changing, he muttered defensively when he finally found Jiraiya lounging by the women's bath, peeping for what he called research. The white-haired Sannin looked up from his observation with an irritated expression. You're late, kid? I almost gave up waiting. You're supposed to train me, a pervert? Jiraiya drew himself up to his full impressive height. I'm not just a pervert, I'm a super pervert, and also one of the legendary Sannin, author of the best-selling Icha Icha series, master of the Toad Sage arts, and... Can you help me defeat Orochimaru? Naruto interrupted. The question caught Jiraiya off guard. Defeat Orochimaru? Kid, that's not something a Genin should be worrying about. Focus on your match against the Hyuga boy. Already know how to beat him. Naruto's hand rested on his sword hilts. Byakugan has a blind spot. His rotation technique has a recovery delay. His confidence is a weakness. Jiraiya stared at the green-eyed boy. How do you know all that? Have you fought Hyuga before? Watched him fight, analyzed his movements, found the weaknesses. Naruto's matter-of-fact tone suggested this level of battle analysis was perfectly normal. But Orochimaru is different, needs more power to defeat. The Sannin studied his new student with growing interest. Kakashi had briefed him on Naruto's unusual abilities and personality, but seeing it firsthand was something else entirely. This was not the hyperactive troublemaker Jiraiya had expected based on old reports. This Naruto was cold, analytical, and possessed a battle sense that shouldn't exist in someone so young. Let me see what you can do first, Jiraiya decided. Show me your best technique. Naruto led him to a training ground with several massive boulders. Without preamble, he drew all 3 of his regular swords, 2 in hand, 1 in mouth, and faced the largest boulder, easily 20 feet tall, Santoryu Ogi, Sanzen Sekai. The 3,000 Worlds technique slashed through the massive rock as if it were paper, the pieces falling apart in a perfect grid pattern of cuts. The display of raw power and precision was extraordinary for any ninja, let alone a Genin. Impressive, Jiraiya acknowledged. But why 3 swords? The one in your mouth seems impractical. Santoryu, Naruto replied, as if that explained everything. 3-sword style, most effective way to use 3 blades simultaneously. And who taught you this style? No one. Always known it. Jiraiya frowned. That's impossible. Complex fighting styles aren't innate, they're learned through years of training. Naruto shrugged, resheathing his swords. Believe what you want. Can you teach me something useful or not? The Sannin considered the strange boy before him. There was clearly more to Naruto Uzumaki than met the eye, perhaps even more than the 9 tails sealed within him could explain. I notice you have the Kubikira Bocho on your back, Jiraiya observed, gesturing to the massive wrapped sword. One of the 7 swords of the mist. How did you acquire it? Took it from Zabuza Momochi after he died. Repaired it myself. Repaired it? That sword is supposed to regenerate using the iron from blood it spills. It was too broken for that. Used a chakra infusion technique from one of the Hokage scrolls. Jiraiya's eyebrows shot up. You stole a forbidden technique from the Hokage? Borrowed, Naruto corrected. Returned it after memorizing it. The Sannin shook his head in disbelief. Kid, you're either going to be the death of me or the most interesting student I've ever had. He scratched his chin thoughtfully. Tell you what, I can't help with your sword techniques since that's clearly not my specialty, but I can teach you something that might complement them. What? The Rasengan. It's a high-level chakra manipulation technique created by the 4th Hokage. Naruto considered this. Channeled chakra sphere? How is that better than a sword technique? Because it's pure chakra that can be used when swords might not be an option. Besides, Jiraiya grinned, with your chakra reserves, you might be able to develop applications even I haven't thought of. Over the next few weeks, Jiraiya guided Naruto through the 3 stages of Rasengan training: rotation, power, and containment. To the Sannin's shock, Naruto mastered the first stage in hours rather than days, the second in days rather than weeks. Your chakra control is far better than your file suggests, Jiraiya commented as Naruto successfully popped a rubber ball through controlled chakra rotation. Sword techniques require precision, Naruto explained. Learned to control chakra flow through blades years ago. By the 3rd week, Naruto had mastered the basic Rasengan, but rather than being satisfied, he immediately began experimenting with combining it with his sword techniques. Oi, kid, that's not how the Rasengan works, Jiraiya protested as Naruto attempted to form the spinning chakra sphere around one of his katanas. Why not? It's just chakra. Swords can channel chakra. Because the rotation would damage the blade, the Rasengan grinds anything it touches. Naruto's green eyes narrowed thoughtfully. Then need a stronger blade, or different application. He spent days experimenting, eventually developing a technique where he would form a Rasengan in his palm, then slash with a sword held in the same hand, releasing the spinning chakra along the arc of his cut. The result was a devastating ranged attack that combined the cutting power of his sword with the grinding destruction of the Rasengan. Itoryu, Rasen Slash, he named it, after successfully cutting through 3 trees with a single stroke from 50 feet away. Jiraiya watched these developments with growing fascination and concern. The boy's ability to adapt and create new techniques bordered on genius, yet his single-minded focus on combat prowess, particularly lethal techniques, raised questions about his psychological state. You know, kid, there's more to being a ninja than just cutting things, the Sannin ventured during one training session. Like what? Naruto asked, genuinely curious. Like protecting people, serving your village, building bonds with others. The green-eyed boy considered this. I protect my teammates when necessary. I complete missions assigned by the village. Bonds, he paused. Not interested in those. Everyone needs connections, Naruto, even the strongest swordsman. For a brief moment, something flickered across Naruto's usually stoic face, a ghost of memory or emotion quickly suppressed. Had them once, he murmured, so quietly Jiraiya barely caught it. A crew, Nakama. What was that? Naruto shook his head sharply, as if clearing cobwebs. Nothing. More training now. The Sannin didn't press the issue, but he filed away the strange comment for future consideration. Throughout their training sessions, Naruto occasionally made similar slips, references to a captain, a ship, or other nautical terms that made no sense for a boy who had grown up in a landlocked village and only recently seen the ocean during the wave mission. It was as if another set of memories occasionally surfaced. Memories that didn't belong to Naruto Uzumaki at all. The day of the Chunin exam finals arrived with Konoha buzzing with excitement. Dignitaries from across the shinobi world had gathered to witness the matches, including the 4th Kazekage and, ostensibly, the 3rd Hokage. Naruto arrived at the stadium an hour late, having gotten lost despite being personally escorted by Jiraiya to the vicinity. When he finally appeared in the competitor's box, his fellow finalists were already waiting. "You're late," Shikamaru Nara observed lazily. "Troublesome." "Stadium moved," Naruto replied with complete conviction. "Took 3 wrong turns getting here." "The stadium has been in the same place for decades," Neji Hyuga stated coldly. "Your poor sense of direction is just another indication of how fate has not favored you." Naruto's green eyes fixed on his first opponent. Fate is just an excuse used by the weak to explain their failures. The proctor, Genma Shiranui, called the first match, Naruto Uzumaki versus Neji Hyuga. As the other competitors cleared the arena, the two genin faced each other. "You should forfeit now," Neji advised, sliding into the gentle fist stance. "Fate has determined you cannot defeat a prodigy of the Hyuga clan." Naruto drew his 3 katanas, the standard configuration he'd used throughout the preliminaries. "Talk less, fight more." Genma raised his hand, then dropped it. "Begin." Neji activated his Byakugan and immediately charged, his hands glowing with chakra as he aimed for Naruto's Tenketsu points. His speed was impressive, his technique flawless, the result of years of rigorous training in the Hyuga compound. Yet Naruto evaded every strike with minimal movement, his body shifting just enough to avoid each potentially devastating blow. He made no attempt to counter, simply observing Neji's attack patterns with his eerily focused green eyes. "Stand still and fight," Neji demanded after a full minute of failed attacks. "If you insist." Naruto stopped dodging and assumed an offensive stance. "Santoryu, Onigiri." The demon slash technique moved faster than most eyes could follow. Neji, however, saw it coming with his Byakugan and executed his ultimate defense. Rotation! The Hyuga prodigy spun, expelling chakra from all Tenketsu points to create a dome-like shield. Naruto's attack collided with the rotation, creating a shower of sparks as sword met chakra barrier. For a moment, the two techniques battled for dominance. Then both combatants were thrown backward by the resulting explosion of force. Neji recovered first, charging forward to press his advantage, while Naruto was still regaining his footing. "You are within my range," the Hyuga declared. 8 trigrams, 64 palms. His hands became a blur as he struck at Naruto's chakra points. 2 palms, 4 palms, 8 palms. But something impossible happened. Despite the speed and precision of Neji's technique, Naruto's body seemed to move instinctively, shifting just enough that each strike missed its intended Tenketsu point. Some connected with his body, but none hit the critical chakra pathway junctions. 16 palms, 32 palms. Neji continued, frustration growing as his supposedly unavoidable technique failed to disable his opponent. 64 palms. The final flurry of strikes pushed Naruto backward. But when the technique concluded, the green-eyed boy remained standing, all 3 swords still in position. Impossible, Neji breathed, his Byakugan confirming that Naruto's chakra network remained largely unaffected. No one can dodge the 64 palms. You telegraph your moves, Naruto replied around the sword in his mouth. Your eyes reveal your intentions before your body moves. In the stands, Hiyashi Hyuga, the head of the Hyuga clan, leaned forward in shock. He read the gentle fist pattern. That's... He couldn't finish the thought. It should have been impossible for anyone outside the Hyuga clan to predict the complex movement patterns of their secret techniques. Back in the arena, Naruto went on the offensive. Santoryu, Toragari! The tiger hunting technique forced Neji into another defensive rotation. This time, however, Naruto was prepared. The instant the rotation ended, during the split-second recovery period he had observed earlier, he struck. Santoryu, Jukiuzume. The bull demon hoof technique hit with devastating force, all 3 swords connecting simultaneously with Neji's chest and shoulders. The Hyuga prodigy was sent flying backward, blood spraying from 3 parallel wounds. Before Neji could recover, Naruto was upon him again. Santoryu Tatsumaki. The Dragon Twister technique created a tornado-like vortex of slashing attacks that lifted Neji off the ground, cutting him dozens of times before slamming him back to earth. When the technique concluded, the Hyuga prodigy lay in a small crater, his clothing shredded and blood flowing from numerous wounds, Remarkably, Neji struggled to his feet, his determination matching Naruto's. "I will not lose to you." "Stay down," Naruto advised, resheathing two of his swords. "You've lost." "Never." Neji charged one final time, gathering his remaining chakra for a desperate strike. Naruto sighed, then resheathed his third sword. As Neji's palm thrust toward his chest, he simply stepped aside and struck the back of the Hyuga's neck with the hilt of his sword. Neji collapsed unconscious at his feet. "Proctor, it's over," Naruto stated. Jinma nodded. "Winner, Naruto Uzumaki." The stadium erupted in shocked applause. The dead last from the academy had defeated the Hyuga prodigy without receiving a single significant injury. More impressively, he had countered techniques that were supposed to be unstoppable. As Medical Ninja carried Neji away, Naruto returned to the competitor's box. Shikamaru gave him a calculating look. "You could have ended that much sooner," the Nara observed. "Why draw it out?" "Wanted to see everything his eyes could do," Naruto replied. "Knowledge for future fights." The next scheduled match was Sasuke versus Gaara, but the Uchiha had not yet arrived. After a brief consultation with the disguised Orochimaru, posing as the Kazekage, Genma announced that Sasuke's match would be postponed, and they would proceed with Shikamaru versus Temari. While that match unfolded, a brilliant display of strategy from Shikamaru despite his eventual forfeit, Naruto's attention was drawn to the unusual chakra fluctuations he sensed throughout the stadium. Something wasn't right. "Invasion coming," he murmured to Shino Aburame, who had returned to the box after his opponent, Kankuro, forfeited. "Be ready." The bug user nodded slightly, his insects buzzing in agreement. Like Naruto, Shino possessed enhanced sensory capabilities that had detected the subtle preparations for attack. When Sasuke finally arrived with Kakashi, his match with Gaara began immediately. The Uchiha displayed impressive speed and skill, having clearly benefited from Kakashi's month of intensive training. His newly learned Chidori technique even managed to penetrate Gaara's ultimate sand defense, drawing blood for the first time in the Sand Ninja's life. The injury triggered Gaara's partial transformation and the commencement of the invasion. Feathers fell throughout the stadium as a genjutsu designed to put spectators to sleep activated. Simultaneously, Sound and Sand Ninja emerged from disguises to attack Konoha forces. Naruto dispelled the genjutsu instantly, his unusual chakra control making him naturally resistant to such techniques. He watched as Gaara was escorted from the arena by his siblings, while Sasuke, under Genma's orders, gave pursuit. "Kakashi-sensei," Naruto called, joining his instructor, who was engaging several Sound Ninja. "The invasion?" "Follow Sasuke," Kakashi ordered between strikes. "Gaara is their weapon, some kind of jinchūriki transformation plan. Sasuke can't handle him alone." For once, Naruto didn't argue about following orders. With a nod, he leapt over the stadium wall, following the trail of Sasuke's distinctive chakra signature. Unfortunately, his terrible sense of direction immediately asserted itself. Despite having a clear mental image of where he needed to go, his body seemingly conspired against him, taking him in random directions through Konoha's streets. "Left should be this way," he muttered, turning right. This navigational challenge delayed him significantly. By the time he finally located the battlefield, a section of forest outside the village, the situation had deteriorated dramatically. Gaara had partially transformed into Shukaku, his right side covered in sand shaped like the One-Tail's arm, and half his face transformed into the Tanuki's visage. Sasuke lay against a tree trunk, his chakra nearly depleted from multiple Chidori uses, and his curse mark activated to its first stage. Sakura, who had apparently arrived earlier, was pinned to a tree by Gaara's sand hand, slowly being crushed. "More prey," Gaara growled upon seeing Naruto, his transformed eye gleaming with bloodlust. "More blood to prove my existence." Naruto assessed the situation instantly. Sasuke was combat ineffective, but not in immediate danger. Sakura, however, had minutes at most before Gaara's sand crushed her completely. Without hesitation, Naruto unwrapped the Kubikiribocho from his back. The massive executioner's blade gleamed in the filtered sunlight, its edge hungry for blood. "Let her go," he ordered, pointing the legendary sword at Gaara. "Your fight is with me now." "Naruto, be careful," Sasuke warned, struggling to stand. "His sand, it's alive somehow, and incredibly fast." "I know." Naruto's green eyes narrowed, focusing entirely on his opponent. Gaara of the desert, Jinchūriki of the one tail. Your existence is defined by killing. Mine is defined by winning. Gaara laughed, a chilling sound halfway between human and demon. You think your sword can hurt me? My sand is the ultimate defense. In response, Naruto channeled chakra into the Kubikirabocho, causing the blade to glow faintly blue. This sword has tasted the blood of demons before. It will taste yours today. He charged, moving with such speed that he seemed to disappear from view. The massive sword, which should have been unwieldy for someone his size, moved like an extension of his arm as he executed a perfect horizontal slash aimed at Gaara's transformed arm. Sand shield, Gaara called, a wall of sand rising to intercept the attack. The Kubikirabocho struck the shield with devastating force and cut clean through it, continuing toward Gaara's transformed arm. The Jinchūriki barely managed to leap away, the legendary sword slicing through the edge of his sand arm, drawing blood. You? Hurt me? Gaara stared in disbelief at the wound, his blood mixing with sand. Blood! My blood! His psychotic rage triggered an acceleration of his transformation. The sand spread further across his body, covering most of his torso and forming a tail behind him. I'll kill you all! He screamed, launching a barrage of sand bullets toward Naruto. The green-eyed swordsman dodged most of the projectiles, deflecting others with precise swings of the Kubikirabocho. Each bullet that contacted the blade was sliced in half, the chakra-infused edge cutting through Gaara's chakra-hardened sand. Itoryu, Sanjiroku Pound Ho. Naruto executed a perfect swing that released a compressed air slash, cutting through Gaara's next wave of sand attacks and striking his partially transformed body. More blood flowed, further enraging the unstable Jinchūriki. Mother wants your blood. She screams for it! Gaara's sand arm extended with frightening speed, attempting to crush Naruto as it had Sakura. The swordsman leapt over it, twisting in midair to deliver another powerful strike. Itoryu, Baki! The horse demon technique slammed into Gaara's sand body with enough force to send him crashing through several trees. The impact momentarily loosened his control over the sand holding Sakura, allowing her to drop to the ground, gasping for breath. Sasuke, Naruto called without taking his eyes off Gaara's position. Get Sakura out of here. I can still fight, the Uchiha protested, though he could barely stand. No, you can't. You're depleted. Take Sakura and go. For once, Sasuke didn't argue. He recognized the truth in Naruto's assessment and, more importantly, saw something in those green eyes that brooked no disagreement. This was not the dead last from the academy speaking. This was a warrior giving a battlefield command. As Sasuke helped Sakura retreat, Gaara emerged from the shattered trees, his transformation now covering nearly his entire body. Only part of his face remained human. Running away? He snarled. They won't escape. No one escapes from me. They're not running, Naruto corrected, pointing the Kubikirabocho at Gaara again. I'm giving them a chance to live, just like I gave you a chance to surrender. Surrender? Surrender? Gaara's partially transformed face contorted with rage and confusion. Why would you show mercy? Why not kill me immediately if you have the power? Naruto's expression remained impassive. Because we're the same. Both containers. Both hated. But you let it break you. I didn't. For a brief moment, something human flickered in Gaara's eyes. Recognition, perhaps, or a glimmer of the lonely child beneath the monster. Then it vanished, subsumed by the One-Tail's bloodlust. If we're the same, then show me your power! Gaara roared, his transformation accelerating to completion. Sand erupted around him, forming the massive body of Shukaku the One-Tail. Show me why you weren't broken! Naruto watched impassively as the tanuki of sand rose above the forest, its massive form dwarfing the trees. Most shinobi would have retreated, called for backup, or at least shown fear in the face of such overwhelming power. Instead, Naruto resheathed the Kubikirabocho on his back and drew all three of his regular katanas. If you want to see my true power, I'll show you. Standing atop a tree branch facing the gigantic sand tanuki, Naruto crossed his arms before him, swords gleaming in the sunlight. Kikikyu Toryu. A strange aura manifested around him, an illusion or perhaps something more. For a moment, it seemed as if he had grown additional limbs, additional heads, each holding a sword, Asura. The illusion solidified, revealing Naruto with 9 swords, 3 held normally, and 6 more wielded by semi-translucent additional arms sprouting from his shoulders and hips. His head appeared to split into three, each mouth holding a sword. It was a technique that defied logic, a manifestation of will and spirit that transcended physical limitations. The nine-sword style, Kyutoryu, that had never been seen in the shinobi world before. What are you? Gaara's voice emerged from the forehead of the sand tanuki, a mixture of fear and excitement in his tone. Naruto didn't answer. He leapt from the tree branch, somehow ascending despite gravity's pull, rising to meet the massive beast head-on. All nine blades moved in perfect harmony, creating a pattern of slashes too complex for the human eye to follow. Asura, Ichibugen! The one-miss silver technique struck the sand tanuki with the force of a meteor impact. 9 simultaneous slashes, each amplified by chakra, cut through the supposedly impenetrable sand like it was water. The giant beast's right arm, part of its shoulder, and a section of its head were severed in an instant, crumbling back to ordinary sand. Impossible! Gaara screamed as his ultimate form was partially dismantled by a single attack. I am Shukaku! I am invincible! He countered with a massive wind bullet, the compressed air attack powerful enough to level part of the forest. Naruto, still airborne, crossed all 9 swords before him. Asura, Makyusen! The Demon Nine Flashes technique created a defensive pattern that sliced the wind bullet into harmless fragments, dispersing its energy before it could reach him. As gravity finally reclaimed him, Naruto descended toward the sand beast's exposed core, where Gaara's human body protruded. This ends now, Naruto declared, all 9 swords poised for the final strike. Asura Ugi. The Dace technique was a precision attack despite its overwhelming power. All 9 blades converged on Gaara's human form, cutting through his sand armor and striking his actual body without killing him. The impact broke his concentration completely, shattering the jutsu that maintained Shukaku's form. The giant sand tanuki collapsed, dissolving back into ordinary sand, as both Naruto and Gaara fell toward the forest below. They crashed through branches, eventually landing in a small clearing. Gaara, now fully human again and covered in cuts that bled into the sand still clinging to his body, struggled to move away as Naruto approached. The 9-sword illusion had faded, leaving him with his normal 3 blades. Stay back, Gaara pleaded, genuine fear in his voice for perhaps the first time in his life. Don't kill me. Naruto stopped, resheathing his swords. I told you, we're the same. He crouched beside the fallen jinchūriki. But you're weak. I've killed hundreds. How am I weak? Because you kill for no reason, no purpose, no honor. Naruto's green eyes bore into Gaara's. Killing without purpose is just mindless destruction. There's no strength in that. Then, what is strength? Gaara asked, his worldview crumbling along with his sand armor. Knowing what you're fighting for, having a dream worth achieving. Naruto stood. Find your dream, Gaara, something beyond just existing, something worth protecting. Before Gaara could respond, his siblings Temari and Kankuro arrived, landing in the clearing with weapons ready. They froze at the sight of their brother defeated and bloody on the ground. Impossible, Temari whispered. No one has ever hurt Gaara like this. Take him, Naruto said, stepping back. The invasion has failed. Konoha stands. Go home and rethink your alliance with Orochimaru. The Sand siblings hesitated, then carefully gathered their wounded brother. Before they departed, Gaara fixed his gaze on Naruto one last time. Uzumaki, what is your dream? What makes you so strong? Naruto's hand drifted to his sword hilts, to become the world's greatest swordsman, to never lose again. As the Sand siblings disappeared into the forest, Naruto sensed Sasuke and Sakura approaching cautiously from behind. Is it over? Sakura asked, still breathing heavily from her near-death experience. The battle is. The war isn't. Naruto turned toward Konoha, where smoke rose from several locations. Let's go back. Sasuke studied his teammate with newfound respect and wariness. What was that technique? With the 9 swords? Kyutoryu, 9-sword style. Naruto started walking, then paused, looking confused. Which way is the village again? Despite the gravity of the situation, Sakura couldn't suppress a small laugh. You just defeated a tailed beast, but you still can't find your way home? How is that possible? The forest keeps moving, Naruto insisted with absolute seriousness. Trees change position when I'm not looking. As they guided their directionally challenged teammate back toward Konoha, both Sasuke and Sakura reflected on the enigma that was Naruto Uzumaki. A boy who could manifest 9 spectral swords and defeat a jinchūriki, yet couldn't navigate his way out of a paper bag. Neither of them noticed the small smile that briefly crossed Naruto's usually stoic face as they walked together. For a moment, something about their bickering camaraderie had felt familiar to him. Like echoes of bonds long forgotten, the aftermath of the invasion brought significant changes to Konoha. The third Hokage had died fighting Orochimaru, sacrificing himself to disable his former student's arms using the Reaper Death Seal. The village mourned its leader while beginning the process of reconstruction and selecting a new Hokage. Team 7 found itself temporarily disbanded. Kakashi was assigned to critical missions due to the village's reduced Jonin forces. Sasuke was hospitalized for chakra exhaustion and monitoring of his curse mark. Sakura assisted in the village's recovery efforts, her precise chakra control making her valuable for delicate reconstruction work. Naruto, meanwhile, continued his solitary training. With the Kubikiri Bocho now fully regenerated, thanks to the blood it had absorbed during the invasion, he focused on mastering the legendary blade's unique properties. Its ability to repair itself using iron from spilled blood fascinated him, prompting experiments to enhance this regenerative capacity using his own chakra. 2 weeks after the invasion, Jiraiya approached Naruto at his usual training ground. "Pack your things, kid," the Sannin announced. "We're going on a trip." Naruto paused mid-swing, the massive executioner's blade halting inches from a boulder that already bore numerous deep cuts. "What trip?" "The village elders have selected Tsunade as the 5th Hokage. Problem is, she left the village years ago. Our mission is to find her and bring her back." "Not interested," Naruto replied, resuming his training. "Need to get stronger here." Jiraiya sighed. "I figured you'd say that. What if I told you Tsunade is not only a legendary medical ninja, but also possesses superhuman strength? She could punch through that boulder with her pinky finger." The green-eyed boy paused again. "Physical strength without weapons?" "Exactly. Her techniques for channeling chakra to enhance physical capabilities might be adaptable to your sword style." Naruto considered this. "How long?" "A few weeks, maybe a month. We have leads on her whereabouts." "Fine." He resheathed the Kubikiri Bocho on his back. "When do we leave?" "Tomorrow morning. Meet me at the East Gate at dawn." Naruto nodded. "I'll be there." The following morning, Jiraiya waited at the East Gate for 3 hours before realizing Naruto was lost again. He eventually found the boy at the West Gate, completely convinced he was in the correct location. The gates moved, Naruto insisted as they finally departed. They were definitely on this side yesterday. Their journey took them through several towns and gambling halls where Tsunade was rumored to have recently appeared. Along the way, Jiraiya continued Naruto's training, focusing now on chakra control techniques that might complement his sword style. The principle behind Tsunade's strength is perfect chakra timing, the Sannin explained as they walked. Releasing precisely the right amount at the exact moment of impact, if you could apply that to your sword techniques, could increase cutting power without sacrificing speed. Naruto finished, understanding immediately. Like Rasengan principles applied to a blade edge. Exactly. Though with those monster techniques you already have, I'm not sure you need more power. Naruto's hand drifted to the hilt of the Kubikiri Bocho. Always need more power. There are always stronger opponents. During their travels, Jiraiya also attempted to teach Naruto about the 9 tails sealed within him. To his surprise, the boy showed little interest in learning to harness the fox's chakra. "Don't need it," Naruto stated when Jiraiya suggested training to access the 9 tails' power. "My own strength is enough." "Kid, the 9 tails is part of you. Its chakra could multiply your power tenfold." "Borrowed power isn't real strength," Naruto insisted. "A true swordsman relies on his own skill, his own will." Despite Jiraiya's arguments about the practical benefits, Naruto remained resolute. His identity was defined by his swordsmanship, not by the beast sealed within him. It was a stance that baffled the Sannin, who had expected Naruto to eagerly embrace any source of additional power. Their search eventually led them to Tanzaku Town, a popular gambling destination where Tsunade had been sighted recently. As they entered the town, Naruto suddenly tensed, his hand moving to his sword hilts. "What is it?" Jiraiya asked, noticing the change in his demeanor. "Powerful chakra." Two sources. Naruto's green eyes narrowed, scanning the town. One feels like the snake, Orochimaru. Jiraiya's expression hardened. If Orochimaru is here, Tsunade must be as well. He must be after her medical skills to heal his arms. They hurried through the town, following Naruto's surprisingly accurate chakra sensing, a skill that contrasted sharply with his terrible physical navigation. Eventually, they reached a destroyed section of the town wall, where evidence of a recent battle was apparent. They were here, Naruto confirmed, examining a crater that could only have been made by Tsunade's legendary strength. Move that way. He pointed unerringly toward a distant field. When they arrived at the indicated location, they found Tsunade and her assistant Shizune facing off against Orochimaru and his right-hand man, Kabuto Yakushi. The confrontation appeared tense but had not yet escalated to full combat. Jiraiya, Orochimaru hissed upon seeing them. How unexpected, and you've brought the Nine-Tails Jinchūriki with you. Naruto's hand moved to the Kubikirabocho on his back. Snake, your arms look painful. Indeed, Orochimaru's arms hung uselessly at his sides, blackened and withered from the third Hokage's final technique. The Sanin's face twisted with hatred. You'll pay for your insolence, boy. Kabuto, handle the brat while I deal with my former teammates. The silver-haired medic nin adjusted his glasses. With pleasure, Lord Orochimaru. Naruto drew the massive executioner's blade, pointing it at Kabuto. I remember you from the Chunin exams, pretended to be weak. Another snake hiding in the grass. Kabuto smirked. My, what perceptive eyes you have. But perception alone won't save you from my medical jutsu. Without warning, Kabuto charged, his hands glowing with chakra scalpels, capable of severing muscles and tendons without breaking the skin. He moved with Jonin-level speed, aiming for Naruto's sword arm. The green-eyed boy didn't attempt to dodge. Instead, he channeled chakra into the Kubikirabocho, causing the massive blade to glow faintly blue. When Kabuto's chakra scalpel struck, it was the medical technique that dissipated against the chakra-infused sword. What? Kabuto leapt back, surprise evident on his face. How did you counter my chakra scalpel? Chakra control, Naruto replied simply. Blade becomes extension of will. Your technique is just another form of chakra. Mine is stronger. Meanwhile, the three Sannin had begun their own battle. Tsunade and Jiraiya stood together against their former teammate, though Tsunade's hemophobia, her fear of blood, severely limited her effectiveness. When Kabuto deliberately cut himself to exploit this weakness, splattering blood toward her, she froze in terror. Naruto noticed this vulnerability and adjusted his strategy accordingly. Your master relies on psychological warfare. Dishonorable. In the shinobi world, victory is all that matters, Kabuto countered, preparing another attack. Honor is for fools and dead men. Then you'll die dishonorably. Naruto's eyes narrowed. Itoryu, Shishishi-san-san! The lion song technique moved faster than Kabuto could track. One moment, Naruto stood several meters away. The next, he was behind the medic nin, the Kubikirabocho completing its arc. Blood sprayed from a deep slash across Kabuto's chest, the wound too severe for even his remarkable healing abilities to instantly repair. Impossible, Kabuto gasped, collapsing to his knees. Your speed? Medical ninja rely on precise chakra control, Naruto observed, flicking blood from his blade. So do swordsmen. Difference is, mine is lethal. Despite his grievous wound, Kabuto wasn't finished. His body began healing itself, cells regenerating at an accelerated rate. My body is special, he panted. You can't kill me so easily. We'll see. Naruto raised the Kubikirabocho again, preparing to deliver a killing blow. Before he could strike, Orochimaru disengaged from his battle with Jiraiya and Tsunade, extending his neck to impossible lengths to intercept Naruto's attack. His Kusanagi sword emerged from his mouth, clashing with the executioner's blade. Kabuto is too valuable to lose, the snake Sannin hissed. Another time perhaps, Nine-Tails brat. With remarkable speed despite his injured arms, Orochimaru retrieved his wounded subordinate and retreated, disappearing into the forest before Jiraiya could pursue. Tsunade, having recovered from her blood-induced paralysis, approached Naruto with evident curiosity. That sword! The Kubikirabocho, one of the 7 swords of the mist. How did a leaf genin come to possess it? Took it from Zabuza Momochi, Naruto replied, examining the blade. It gleamed faintly as it absorbed the blood from his recent attack, the seams of its previous repair becoming slightly less visible. Repaired it myself. And your fighting style, she pressed. 3 swords at once? I've never seen anything like it. Santoryu, 3-sword style. He resheathed the massive blade on his back. I created it. Jiraiya coughed pointedly. Actually, Tsunade, that's part of why we're here. Naruto's abilities are unique. Even I can't explain them. The blonde Sanin studied the green-eyed boy more carefully. Those eyes, they're not natural for an Uzumaki. And that stance, it's like watching a veteran swordmaster in a child's body. Are you coming back to Konoha? Naruto asked bluntly, changing the subject. The village needs a Hokage. Tsunade's expression hardened. I left that place for a reason. The title of Hokage is a fool's dream that gets people killed. Coward's excuse, Naruto replied without hesitation, running from responsibility because of fear. What did you say to me, brat? Tsunade's legendary temper flared, her fist clenching. You have no idea what I've lost. Everyone loses people. Strong ones keep moving forward. Weak ones use loss as an excuse to stop. The directness of his assessment struck Tsunade like a physical blow. For a moment, memories of her brother Nawaki and lover Dan flashed through her mind. Both had died pursuing the dream of becoming Hokage. You sound like them, she whispered, her anger giving way to old grief. Always talking about dreams and never giving up. Naruto's expression remained impassive. Dreams give purpose. Purpose gives strength. Without them, you're just existing, not living. His words, though harsh, contained a wisdom beyond his years. Tsunade found herself studying this strange boy, this genin who wielded one of the legendary swords, who spoke of dreams and purpose with the conviction of someone who had already lived a full life. Tell you what, brat, she said finally. Let's make a bet. 1 week. If you can master a technique I'm choosing in that time, I'll return to Konoha and take the hat. If you fail, you give me that sword of yours. Naruto's eyes narrowed. No one takes my swords. Afraid you'll lose? No, just stating facts. Tsunade smirked. Then you have nothing to worry about. The technique I have in mind is a chakra control exercise that took me 3 years to perfect, and intervened. Tsunade, be reasonable. The village needs you. The elders have already decided. The elders can wait, she cut him off. I want to see what this boy is capable of. Something about him doesn't add up. And so began Naruto's week of training under Tsunade's supervision. The technique she chose was indeed formidable, a method of concentrating chakra within one's fingertip, then releasing it in a perfectly timed burst to shatter objects without physical contact. The key is precision, Tsunade explained, demonstrating by disintegrating a boulder with a flick of her finger from 3 feet away. Too little chakra, nothing happens. Too much, you damage your own pathways. Timing must be perfect. Naruto approached the training with his usual single-minded focus. Hour after hour, day after day, he practiced the technique, applying the principles of his sword training to this new form of chakra manipulation. By the 4th day, he could create small cracks in stones from a few inches away. By the 6th, he could shatter smaller rocks completely. Tsunade watched his progress with growing amazement and a strange sense of unease. His chakra control is extraordinary. She confided to Jiraiya as they observed from a distance. No genin should be able to master this technique so quickly. Hell, most jonin couldn't do it in a month. I told you he was special, Jiraiya replied. Everything about him defies explanation. His sword techniques, his strategic mind, even the way he talks, it's like he's lived another life entirely. On the morning of the 7th day, Tsunade presented Naruto with the final test, a massive boulder that dwarfed the ones he'd been practicing on. Shatter this from 3 feet away, she challenged. Just like I did. Naruto studied the boulder, then raised his hand, extending his index finger. His green eyes narrowed in concentration as chakra gathered at his fingertip, becoming visible as a small blue glow. The principle is the same as sword cutting, he murmured, more to himself than to his audience. Intent, timing, will. With a sharp motion, he flicked his finger toward the boulder. The chakra released in a perfect wave, invisible to the naked eye, but carrying tremendous force. It struck the massive rock with pinpoint accuracy, and the boulder exploded into thousands of fragments. Tsunade's jaw dropped. The destruction wasn't just complete, it was excessive. The boulder hadn't merely cracked or shattered, it had been pulverized more thoroughly than her own demonstration. Impossible, she whispered. That level of precision, it took me years. Naruto lowered his hand, seemingly unsurprised by his success. Chakra control is just another form of blade work. Direct the energy, focus the intent, execute the cut. He turned to her. You lost the bet. Time to return to Konoha. Still stunned by his demonstration, Tsunade could only nod. A deal's a deal. But before we go back, I want to know, who taught you chakra control like that? No one, Naruto replied with his usual directness. Figured it out training with swords. No one just figures out that level of chakra precision, she insisted. It takes years of specialized training under expert guidance. The green-eyed boy shrugged. Needed it to strengthen my sword techniques. So I learned. This non-explanation was typical of Naruto. Jiraiya had discovered. When questioned about the source of his abilities, he either claimed to have always known or described learning complex techniques through simple determination, as if the mere decision to master something was sufficient explanation for doing so. As they prepared to return to Konoha, Tsunade made one last observation. Those eyes of yours, they're not the Uzumaki blue that your mother had. My mother? Naruto's perpetual scowl softened slightly. You knew her? Kushina Uzumaki, red hair, blue eyes, and a temper that could terrify even the Hokage. Tsunade smiled at the memory. You have her face shape, but those green eyes, they're not from either of your parents. For a brief moment, something flickered across Naruto's stoic expression, confusion perhaps, or a ghost of memory quickly suppressed. Does it matter? He asked finally. Eyes are just for seeing. Maybe. Tsunade conceded. Or maybe they're windows to something more. She tapped his chest lightly. Something in here that even you don't fully understand. The journey back to Konoha was uneventful, though slowed considerably by Naruto's terrible sense of direction whenever he took the lead. Despite having traversed the same road just weeks earlier, he consistently chose wrong turns and insisted that landmarks had moved overnight. It's actually impressive how consistently wrong he is, Tsunade commented to Jiraiya after watching Naruto confidently stride in the exact opposite direction of their destination for the third time that day. It's almost like he has a negative compass in his head. Been that way since he was a child, Jiraiya confirmed. The Anbu assigned to watch him used to place bets on how lost he'd get trying to find his own apartment. Naruto, recalled from his incorrect course, rejoined them with his usual scowl. The road moved again. Of course it did, Tsunade agreed with exaggerated seriousness. Those sneaky roads, always shifting when we're not looking. If he detected her sarcasm, Naruto gave no indication. He simply nodded in solemn agreement, completely convinced of his theory about mobile geography. Upon returning to Konoha, Tsunade was officially installed as the 5th Hokage. Her first acts included healing Sasuke, who had remained hospitalized since the invasion, and assessing the village's overall medical infrastructure. Naruto, meanwhile, returned to his solitary training, incorporating the chakra control techniques he'd learned from Tsunade into his sword style. By focusing chakra at the exact moment his blades connected with a target, he could multiply their cutting power exponentially. This refined approach led to the development of new variations of his existing techniques. His onigiri became yaki onigiri when infused with precisely timed chakra bursts, creating a burning effect that cauterized wounds even as it cut. His toragari evolved into ul-toragari, the increased power allowing it to slice through multiple opponents in a single motion. 2 months after Tsunade's return, Team 7 was officially reformed for a new mission. Sasuke, fully recovered and more driven than ever to gain power, joined a pensive Sakura and the ever-stoic Naruto at the mission assignment desk. I have a B-rank mission for Team 7, Tsunade announced. Escort duty for a diplomat traveling to the land of T. Should be straightforward, but there are reports of bandits targeting officials in that region. Bandits? Sasuke scoffed. Hardly worth our time. Perhaps, Tsunade acknowledged. But it's a good opportunity for your team to re-establish its dynamics after recent events. What she didn't say, but what Kakashi understood from her meaningful glance, was the mission was also a chance to evaluate Sasuke's mental state after his encounter with Orochimaru. The curse mark, though sealed, remained a concern, as did the Uchiha's growing obsession with power. As Team 7 departed the following morning, none of them realized that this routine mission would mark the beginning of a chain of events that would test their bonds to breaking point and force Naruto to confront the true nature of his inexplicable abilities and memories. The Land of Tea mission began routinely enough. Team 7, led by Kakashi, escorted the diplomat without incident for the first 2 days. Naruto remained vigilant but distant, spending evenings maintaining his swords rather than interacting with his teammates. On the 3rd day, however, everything changed. As they passed through a narrow valley, Naruto suddenly tensed, his hand moving to his sword hilts. "Ambush," he stated flatly. 12 hostiles. High ground, both sides. Kakashi scanned the ridgeline, seeing nothing. "Are you certain? I don't sense." Before he could finish, shuriken rained down from concealed positions exactly where Naruto had indicated. The team deflected the projectiles while forming a protective perimeter around their client. "How did you know?" Sasuke demanded as they prepared to counterattack. Naruto didn't answer. His focus had shifted to a figure emerging from the trees ahead, a tall, muscular man wielding an enormous hammer-like weapon. Well, the newcomer called. "What have we here?" Leaf Ninja playing bodyguard, and one with interesting swords. His eyes fixed on the Kubikiri strapped to Naruto's back. "That's one of the 7 swords of the mist. Quite valuable." Raiga Kurosuke, Kakashi identified their opponent. Former member of the 7 swordsmen, now a mercenary. "Be careful, team, he's Jonin level." Naruto stepped forward, drawing the massive executioner's blade. "You know this sword?" Raiga grinned, electricity crackling around his twin weapons. The Kiba blades, another pair of the legendary 7 swords. "Of course, the Kubikiri once belonged to my former comrade Zabuza. I see it's found a new wielder, though you seem rather small for such a blade." "Size doesn't matter," Naruto replied, his green eyes focused on Raiga's twin lightning swords. "Skill does." "Let's test that theory, shall we?" Electricity surged through Raiga's blades as he prepared to attack. Lightning style, Thunder Fangs. A massive bolt of lightning shot toward Team 7. Kakashi countered with an Earthwall Jutsu, protecting their client, while Sasuke and Sakura took defensive positions. Naruto, however, charged directly into the attack. The Kubikiri held before him like a shield. As the lightning struck the massive blade, he channeled chakra through it, redirecting the electrical energy along its edge. Itoryu, Raiden Giri. The Thunder Cut technique turned Raiga's own lightning against him, a crackling slash of electrical energy racing back toward its creator. The former mist swordsman barely managed to absorb the redirected attack with his Kiba blades, his expression shifting from confidence to concern. "Interesting," Raiga muttered. "You're not just swinging that sword around. You actually know how to use it." "Better than you use those," Naruto replied, gesturing to the twin lightning blades. "Waste of good steel in your hands." The insult had its intended effect. Raiga's face contorted with rage as he charged, both blades crackling with lethal voltage. "I'll show you how a true swordsman of the mist fights." What followed was a duel of legendary blades. The Kubikiri massive size and weight contrasted with the Kiba blade's speed and electrical properties, yet Naruto matched Raiga stroke for stroke. Each clash sent sparks and lightning across the battlefield, the sheer power of their techniques keeping even Kakashi at a distance. Lightning style, Thunder Dragon Jutsu. Raiga formed hand signs between sword strikes, summoning a massive dragon of pure electricity that roared toward Naruto. The green-eyed boy didn't attempt to dodge. Instead, he resheathed the Kubikiri and drew all 3 of his regular katanas, assuming his Santoryu stance. Santoryu, Tatsumaki. The Dragon Twister technique created a counter-vortex that met Raiga's Thunder Dragon head-on. The 2 forces collided in a spectacular explosion of energy, the resulting shockwave flattening trees for 50 meters in all directions. When the dust settled, Naruto stood unharmed, all 3 swords still in position. Raiga, however, had been thrown backward, one of his Kiba blades knocked from his grip. "Impossible," the former mist swordsman gasped, struggling to his feet. No genin could counter that technique. "Not a regular genin," Naruto replied, removing the sword from his mouth. "A swordsman." He resheathed 2 of his katanas and drew the Kubikiri again, the massive blade gleaming with a faint blue glow as he channeled chakra through it. "Your lightning is strong but predictable. All power, no precision." Raiga's expression darkened. "You think you understand the 7 swords? You're nothing but a child playing with stolen weapons. Not stolen, inherited. Naruto's stance shifted subtly. A sword chooses its true master. The Kubikirabucho chose me when it tasted my will. This philosophical approach to swordsmanship seemed to unnerve Reiga more than any physical attack. Blades don't choose. They're tools, weapons to be wielded by the strongest. That's why you'll never master those swords, Naruto concluded. You see them as tools. I see mine as partners. With that, he launched his final attack. Itoryu Ogi Daishinkan. The great dragon shock technique moved faster than most eyes could follow. One moment, Naruto stood 20 feet from Reiga. The next, he was behind him, the Kubikirabucho completing its arc in a perfect overhead slash. For a second, nothing happened. Then blood erupted from a massive wound extending from Raiga's left shoulder to his right hip. The former missed swordsman collapsed, the remaining Kiba blade falling from his nerveless fingers. How? He gasped, blood bubbling from his lips. Such power from a child. Naruto turned, flicking blood from his blade. The Kubikirabucho absorbed the crimson liquid, the faint seams its repair fading even further. Not a child, a swordsman. As Raiga's life ebbed away, Naruto approached the fallen Kiba blades. The twin swords hummed with residual electricity, reacting to his presence as he studied them. What are you doing? Kakashi asked, joining his student now that the battle had concluded. Adding to my collection, Naruto replied, carefully picking up the lightning swords. As his hands closed around their hilts, electricity crackled up his arms, but he showed no discomfort. These blades have chosen me. Naruto, those are stolen property of the Hidden Mist village. We can't just... They're mine now, the green-eyed boy stated with absolute finality. 3 of the 7 swords. 4 more to find. Before Kakashi could argue further, the remaining bandits launched a desperate attack, having witnessed their leader's defeat. Team 7 engaged them efficiently, with Sasuke and Sakura demonstrating their own growth by dispatching multiple opponents without requiring assistance. When the skirmish ended, the issue of the Kiba blades was temporarily set aside in favor of continuing their mission. Naruto strapped the twin lightning swords alongside the Kubikirabucho on his back, his small frame now carrying an arsenal that would have burdened most adult shinobi. That evening, as they made camp, Sasuke approached Naruto while he was maintaining his newly acquired blades. Where did you learn to fight like that? The Uchiha demanded without preamble. That wasn't normal kenjutsu. Naruto continued polishing the Kiba blades, which occasionally sparked in response to his chakra. Told you before, I didn't learn it, always known it. That's impossible. No one is born knowing advanced sword techniques. I was. Sasuke's Sharingan activated unconsciously, his frustration manifesting in his Kekkei Genkai. Even with my eyes, I can barely follow your movements during those high-speed techniques. It's like you're using some kind of time-space ninjutsu. Not ninjutsu, Naruto corrected. Just speed and precision. Teach me, Sasuke demanded suddenly. Your sword techniques. They're more powerful than most ninjutsu I've seen. For the first time, Naruto looked directly at his teammate, his green eyes meeting Sasuke's red ones. Can't or won't. Both. Santoryu isn't something that can be taught. It's something you either have or don't. Naruto returned to maintaining his swords. Like your eyes. Born with it. This answer only intensified Sasuke's frustration. Since awakening his Sharingan, he had relied on its ability to copy techniques, but Naruto's sword style somehow defied this fundamental advantage. The physical movements could be mimicked, but something essential about the techniques remained beyond the Sharingan's analytical ability. There must be a secret to it, Sasuke persisted. Some kind of chakra manipulation or mental focus. Naruto paused his maintenance, studying Sasuke with unexpected intensity. Why do you want power? The question caught the Uchiha off guard. To kill my brother, to avenge my clan. Revenge. Naruto nodded slightly. Understandable motivation, but limiting. What do you mean limiting? When revenge is your only goal, what happens after you achieve it? Naruto resheathed the Kiba blades, having finished their maintenance. Your life ends with your brother's. Sasuke hadn't expected philosophical insights from his typically taciturn teammate. That's not your concern. True. Naruto stood adjusting his multiple swords. But if you want real power, find a dream beyond killing. Something to live for, not just something to die for. With that cryptic advice, he walked away, leaving Sasuke to consider his words. For the first time, the Uchiha found himself questioning the singular focus of his existence, not abandoning his quest for vengeance, but wondering what might lie beyond it. The remainder of the mission proceeded without significant incident. They delivered the diplomat safely to his destination and began the journey back to Konoha. Upon their return, Kakashi reported the encounter with Raiga Kurosuke and the acquisition of the Kiba blades. Tsunade summoned Naruto to her office to address the issue. The Hidden Mist has already sent a formal request for the return of the Kiba blades, she informed him. They're considered national treasures. They're mine now, Naruto replied with his usual directness. The swords chose me. Naruto, this isn't about your personal collection. This is a diplomatic matter, right? The 7 swords are culturally significant to the land of water. Then they should have better swordsmen to wield them. His hand rested on the hilts of the twin lightning blades strapped alongside the Kubikira Bocho. These swords were being wasted on a mercenary who didn't understand their true nature. Tsunade sighed. This wasn't the first time she'd butted heads with Naruto's immovable determination, and she suspected it wouldn't be the last. What if I ordered you as Hokage to return them? Would have to refuse, Naruto stated simply. My loyalty is to Konoha, but my blades are part of me. Taking them would be like taking my arms. The 5th Hokage studied the strange green-eyed boy before her. In many ways, he reminded her of her brother in Dan, the same unwavering determination, the same absolute conviction in his path. But unlike them, Naruto's dreams weren't centered on protecting the village or becoming Hokage. His ambitions were more personal, more primal. Fine, she relented after a long silence. You can keep the Kiba blades for now. I'll inform the Mist that they were destroyed in the battle. But understand this, if more diplomatic issues arise from your collection, we will revisit this conversation. Naruto nodded once, the closest thing to gratitude he ever displayed. Fair. As he turned to leave, Tsunade added, one more thing. I'm assigning Team 7 to investigate reports of strange activity near the Valley of the End. There have been sightings of unknown shinobi in the area, possibly connected to Orochimaru. When do we leave? Tomorrow morning. Kakashi will brief you on the details. Naruto's hand unconsciously moved to the hilts of his swords. The prospect of encountering Orochimaru's forces again brought a rare glint of anticipation to his green eyes. I'll be ready. The following morning, Team 7 gathered at the village gates. Kakashi was, as usual, 2 hours late, leaving his Genin team waiting impatiently. Sasuke brooded silently, his thoughts still dwelling on Naruto's words about finding purpose beyond revenge. Sakura alternated between attempting conversation with Sasuke and stealing curious glances at Naruto's growing collection of legendary swords. Naruto himself stood apart from his teammates, methodically sharpening the Kiba blades. The twin swords occasionally sparked with residual lightning chakra, responding to his touch as if alive. Those are incredible, Sakura ventured, approaching cautiously. How do they channel lightning so effectively? Special metal, Naruto replied without looking up. Conducts chakra better than ordinary steel. Amplifies it. And you can use all 5 of your swords now? The 3 regular ones plus these 2 and the big one? Naruto nodded. Different swords for different opponents. The Kiba blades are for speed and precision, Kubikira Bocho for power and endurance. But how do you carry them all? They must weigh a ton. A ghost of a smile flickered across Naruto's usually stoic face. Weight training. Before Sakura could press further, Kakashi finally arrived in a swirl of leaves. Sorry I'm late. I was helping an elderly woman cross a river of lava. Liar, Sakura accused automatically. Kakashi's visible eye crinkled in amusement. Now then, our mission. There have been reports of unusual chakra signatures and unexplained phenomena near the Valley of the End. Several scouts have gone missing after investigating. Our job is to determine the source of these disturbances and neutralize any threats. Valley of the End, Sasuke repeated, his interest peaked. Where the first Hokage fought Madara Uchiha. Precisely. The area has historical significance and is normally quiet. These disturbances are concerning, especially given their possible connection to Orochimaru. Naruto resheathed the Kiba blades, securing them alongside his other swords. Let's go. The journey to the Valley of the End would take approximately a day at normal traveling speed. As they leapt through the trees, Kakashi briefed them on additional details. The reports mention fluctuating chakra patterns, similar to space-time ninjutsu. There's also been unusual wildlife behavior, animals fleeing the area en masse. Could be experiments, Sasuke suggested. Orochimaru is known for his twisted research. Possible. Whatever it is, approach with caution. If we do encounter Orochimaru or his forces, our priority is gathering intelligence, not engaging directly. Naruto made a dismissive sound. Running away doesn't solve problems. Neither does rushing into battles we're not prepared for, Kakashi countered. Even you, Naruto, with all your skill, aren't ready to face a Sannin at full strength. The green-eyed boy didn't argue, but his expression suggested disagreement. His encounter with Orochimaru during the Chunin exams had left him with a clear assessment of the gap between their abilities, a gap he intended to close. By late afternoon, they had covered significant ground. As they approached a small river that marked the halfway point to their destination, Kakashi called for a brief rest. We'll continue at dawn, he decided. The valley is best approached in daylight, given the unknown nature of what we're facing. While Sasuke and Sakura set up camp, Naruto wandered to the riverbank, staring at the flowing water with unusual intensity. Something about rivers always triggered strange feelings in him. Vague memories of a world bordered by endless oceans, of journeys across blue expanses too vast to comprehend. Thirsty? Kakashi asked, approaching from behind. Naruto shook his head. Just thinking. About? The sea. The answer emerged without conscious thought, surprising even Naruto himself. Never mind, not important. Kakashi studied his student curiously. You know, for someone who got lost trying to find his own apartment, you have an unusual fascination with navigation and directions. The buildings move, Naruto insisted with absolute conviction. Streets rearrange themselves when I'm not looking. Rather than argue, Kakashi changed the subject. I noticed you've been experimenting with new techniques combining your sword style with ninjutsu principles. Trying to integrate the lightning properties of the Kiba blades with my Santoryu techniques, Naruto confirmed. Lightning chakra enhances cutting power. Innovative. Though I'm curious why you don't utilize more traditional ninja tools or jutsu. Your focus on swordsmanship is rather singular. Naruto's hand drifted to his sword hilts in an unconscious gesture that had become familiar to those who knew him. A true swordsman needs nothing but his blades. Yet you've mastered the Rasengan, a pure chakra technique with no relation to Kenjutsu. Adaptability is important, Naruto conceded, but swords are comfortable, familiar. Before Kakashi could probe further, a disturbance in the water caught their attention. The river's surface rippled unnaturally, swirling against the current as if responding to an unseen force. Get back, Kakashi ordered, sensing danger. The warning came just in time. The water erupted upward, forming a massive column that solidified into a humanoid shape, a water clone technique, but one of unusual size and stability. Impressive reaction time, called a voice from the trees. A figure emerged, a man wearing a black cloak decorated with red clouds, his face obscured by a mask resembling a stylized shark. As expected of the famous copy ninja, Kasame Hoshigaki, Kakashi identified, immediately pushing up his headband to reveal his Sharingan. Member of Akatsuki and former Seven Swordsman of the Mist. Naruto's attention immediately focused on the massive wrapped object strapped to Kasame's back, Samahada, another of the legendary Seven Swords. Well, Kasame grinned, revealing pointed teeth. What have we here, a Genin team? No, one of them is special. His small eyes fixed on Naruto. The Nine-Tails Jinchūriki, if I'm not mistaken. Naruto stepped forward, drawing the Kiba blades. Samahada, he stated, ignoring the reference to the Nine-Tails, the shark-skin sword, strongest of the Seven Swords. Kasame's grin widened. A boy who knows his legendary weapons, and carrying quite the collection yourself, I see. His eyes narrowed as he recognized the swords in Naruto's hands. The Kiba blades. And is that the Kubikira Bocho on your back? My, you've been busy. Naruto, stay back, Kakashi ordered, moving protectively in front of his student. Kasame is out of your league. The shark-like man laughed. Listen to your sensei, boy. Though I must admit, I'm curious how a Leaf Genin came to possess two sets of the Seven Swords. Took them from weaklings who couldn't use them properly, Naruto replied, electricity beginning to crackle along the kiba blades as he channeled chakra through them. Just like I'll take Samahata from you. This declaration caused Kasame to throw back his head and laugh uproariously. You've got guts, kid! But Samahata doesn't just let anyone wield it. It chooses its master based on chakra quality and quantity. I know, Naruto's eyes narrowed. That's why it will choose me. Before Kakashi could stop him, Naruto charged, the kiba blades crackling with intensifying lightning chakra. Nitoryu, Kaminari Rashomon. The lightning gate technique unleashed twin arcs of electrical energy that converged on Kisame with devastating speed. The Akatsuki member barely had time to unwrap Samahata and bring it before him as a shield. The lightning struck the scaled sword, which seemed to absorb much of the energy, though some crackled around Kasame's form, singing his cloak. Impressive, the shark man acknowledged, genuine surprise in his voice. Those aren't just for show. You actually know how to use them. Kakashi appeared beside Naruto in a flash, grabbing his shoulder. Fall back! This isn't an opponent you can handle! Listen to your sensei, boy, Kisame advised, shouldering Samahata. Though I must say, your chakra is interesting. Samahata is quite excited by it. The massive sword seemed to ripple beneath its bandages, its scales shifting as if in anticipation. Naruto's green eyes focused on this movement, recognizing the sentient nature of the legendary blade. Your sword is hungry, he observed, but not for my chakra, for a worthy wielder. This statement caused Kasame's amused expression to falter slightly. Careful, boy. Samahata has been my partner for decades. It doesn't betray its master. Not betrayal, Naruto corrected. Evolution. A sword grows stronger with a stronger wielder. Something about the boy's confidence unnerved Kasame. This wasn't the brash boasting of a naive genin, but the calm assessment of someone who truly understood the nature of legendary weapons. Enough talk, the Akatsuki member decided, forming hand signs. Water style, great shark bullet technique. A massive shark composed of water erupted from the river, charging toward Team 7 with its jaws wide open. Kakashi countered with an earth wall, but the water construct simply flowed around it, reforming on the other side. Santoryu, Tatsumaki. Naruto had resheathed the kiba blades and drawn his 3 regular katanas, executing his dragon twister technique. The resulting tornado-like vortex met the water shark head-on, dispersing it into harmless droplets. Oh, Santoryu? Kasame's eyes widened with genuine interest. Naruto didn't respond verbally, unable to speak clearly with a sword clenched between his teeth. Instead, he charged forward, all 3 blades moving in perfect harmony. Santoryu, Hyakuhachi Pound Ho! The 108-pound cannon technique released a powerful compressed air slash that cut through the distance between them with frightening speed. Kasame brought Samahata up to block, but the force of the impact still pushed him backwards several meters, his feet carving trenches in the ground. Naruto, stand down! Kakashi ordered, preparing his own attack. Lightning Blade. The copy ninja's signature technique formed in his hand, crackling with concentrated electrical chakra. He charged toward Kasame, aiming for a vital point while the Akatsuki member was still recovering from Naruto's attack. Kasame grinned, swinging Samahata to intercept. Too slow, Kakashi! The legendary sword absorbed the lightning blade upon contact, draining its chakra and leaving Kakashi momentarily vulnerable. Kasame capitalized immediately, delivering a powerful kick that sent the Jonin flying backward into a tree. Kakashi-sensei! Sakura cried, rushing to his side while Sasuke launched a barrage of fire jutsu to cover her movement. Great fireball technique! The massive sphere of flames engulfed Kasame's position, temporarily obscuring him from view. When the fire cleared, however, a water clone stood in his place, liquefying from the heat. Over here, Kasame called from atop a nearby boulder, completely unharmed. Not bad for Genin, but you'll need to do better than that. Naruto assessed the situation with cold precision. Kakashi was temporarily incapacitated. Sasuke's fire techniques were naturally disadvantaged against Kasame's water affinity, and Sakura lacked the offensive capabilities to threaten an S-rank missing 9. The solution was obvious. He would have to end this quickly. Sasuke, he called, resheathing his 3 katanas. Distraction. 30 seconds. The Uchiha nodded, understanding immediately despite the minimal instruction. He activated his Sharingan and began weaving complex hand signs. Fire style, Phoenix Flower Jutsu. Multiple small fireballs shot toward Kasame, who laughed as he easily countered with a water wall. What he didn't immediately notice was that Sasuke had hidden shuriken within the flames, which continued through the water defense. While Kasame dealt with this attack, Naruto drew the Kubikira Bocho and closed his eyes, entering a state of intense concentration. Chakra began to flow visibly around the massive blade, causing it to glow with a faint blue light. "What's he doing?" Sakura whispered to the recovering Kakashi. "Something new," the Jonin replied, watching with his Sharingan. "He's focusing an enormous amount of chakra into that blade." Kisame, having dispatched Sasuke's attack, turned his attention back to Naruto, just as the boy's eyes snapped open. What the Akatsuki member saw caused his confident grin to falter. Naruto's green eyes now held a peculiar quality. A focus so intense it seemed to pierce through physical barriers, seeing beyond normal perception. It was a gaze Kasame had encountered only a few times in his violent career, usually in the eyes of true master swordsmen moments before they executed their ultimate techniques. "Interesting," the Shark Man murmured, bringing Samahata before him in a defensive position. "Show me what you've got, boy." Itoryu Ogi. Naruto's stance shifted subtly, the Kubikira Bocho held at his side in a position that shouldn't have allowed for an effective strike, yet somehow radiated lethal purpose. Shishishi. In a movement almost too fast for normal eyes to track, Naruto closed the distance between them, the massive executioner's blade moving in an arc that defied its weight and dimensions. Sansa! The Lion Song technique struck with devastating precision, targeting the exact point where Kasame's guard was weakest. Samehada moved to intercept, but the chakra-infused Kubikiri Bocho sliced through several of its scales before Kasame could adjust his defense. Both swordsmen froze in their post-attack positions, backs to each other. For a moment, nothing happened. Then blood sprayed from a diagonal wound across Kasame's chest, and several of Samehada's scales fell to the ground, severed. "Impossible," Kasame gasped, dropping to one knee. His wound wasn't life-threatening, but the fact that he'd been injured at all was shocking. "You cut through Samehada's scales." More surprising was Samehada's reaction. The sentient sword was trembling in Kasame's grip, its remaining scales rippling with what appeared to be excitement rather than pain. "Your sword recognizes strength," Naruto stated, turning to face his opponent. "It wants to taste more of my chakra." Kasame's expression shifted from shock to calculation. This was no ordinary genin, no ordinary swordsman either. The boy's technique, speed, and power all exceeded what should have been possible for his age and experience. "Who are you really?" Kasame demanded. "No child learns to wield legendary swords with such mastery." Naruto's response was interrupted by the arrival of another figure, a man wearing the same black cloak with red clouds, but with distinctive red eyes and pronounced tear troughs beneath them. "Kasame," the newcomer spoke in a monotone voice, "we're withdrawing." "Itachi Uchiha," Kakashi identified, struggling to his feet with Sakura's assistance. "So you're working with Akatsuki now." "Itachi!" Sasuke's voice trembled with hatred as he recognized his older brother, the man who had massacred their entire clan and traumatized him years ago. "Die!" The younger Uchiha charged recklessly, a chidori forming in his hand as he targeted his brother's heart. Itachi didn't even turn to look at him, simply sidestepping the attack at the last moment and striking Sasuke with a casual backhand that sent him crashing into the riverbank. "Foolish little brother," Itachi murmured, his expression unreadable. "You still lack hatred." "Our mission isn't the Uchiha boy," he reminded Kasame. "We were sent for the Nine-Tails Jinchūriki." Kasame rose to his feet, pressing a hand against his bleeding chest. "The boy is more troublesome than expected. He injured both me and Samehada." Itachi's eyes shifted to Naruto, who had assumed a defensive stance with the Kubikira Bocho. "Interesting. Perhaps we should retreat and reassess." "Running away?" Naruto taunted, though his voice held no emotion, merely stating a fact. "Afraid of a genin?" "Not afraid," Itachi corrected. "Tactical. We'll meet again, Naruto Uzumaki. That's a promise." With that, both Akatsuki members dissolved into flocks of crows and water droplets respectively, shadow clone techniques designed for escape. As the immediate danger passed, Kakashi assessed his team. Sasuke was physically fine but mentally shaken by his brief, humiliating encounter with Itachi. Sakura was unharmed, having stayed out of the direct fighting. Naruto appeared completely unfazed, already wiping blood from the Kubikiribocho's edge, which absorbed it eagerly. That was reckless, Kakashi admonished him. Kisame Hoshigaki is an S-rank missing nin for a reason. You could have been killed. No, Naruto replied with absolute certainty. I was winning. The disturbing thing was, Kakashi couldn't entirely disagree. Somehow, this green-eyed genin had managed to injure one of the most dangerous swordsmen in the shinobi world, and had done so with a technique that the Jonin's Sharingan had barely been able to track. We need to report this to Lady Tsunade immediately, Kakashi decided. Akatsuki's interest in you changes our mission parameters. We're not continuing to the Valley of the End? Sakura asked. No. This encounter suggests the disturbances there might have been a lure, a trap to draw out Naruto specifically. The green-eyed boy frowned. We're running away. We're regrouping, Kakashi corrected. Akatsuki is an organization of S-rank missing 9. They don't send 2 members for a simple capture unless the target is extremely valuable. The fact that they're after you means we need to develop a strategy before proceeding. Naruto clearly disagreed, but didn't argue further. He resheathed the Kubikiribocho and moved to check on Sasuke, who was still sitting where he'd landed after Itachi's casual dismissal. Get up, Naruto told him bluntly. Wallowing doesn't help. Sasuke glared at him with Sharingan-activated eyes. You don't understand. That was my brother, the man I've sworn to kill, and I couldn't even touch him. So you're still weak, Naruto acknowledged without sugarcoating. Train harder. Get stronger. Easy for you to say, Sasuke spat. You managed to injure an S-rank ninja while I couldn't even land a hit on Itachi. Different opponents, different circumstances. Naruto extended a hand to help Sasuke up. Next time, don't attack blindly. Control your emotions or they'll control you. Coming from anyone else, this might have sounded like patronizing advice. But from Naruto, whose emotional control was legendary among their peers, it carried the weight of demonstrated wisdom. Sasuke reluctantly accepted the offered hand, rising to his feet. How did you do it? Cut through Samehada's scales when it's supposedly indestructible? Focus, Naruto replied simply, channeling chakra at the exact moment of impact. Like Tsunade's strength technique, but applied to a blade's edge. This explanation was technically accurate, but woefully incomplete. What Naruto didn't mention, couldn't explain, even to himself, was the strange state of mind he'd entered before executing the technique. A clarity of perception that went beyond normal senses, allowing him to see not just Kasame's physical form, but the flow of his chakra, the minute shifts in his stance, even his intentions before they manifested as actions. It was a sense he'd always possessed to some degree, but had been refining through his training. In his mind, he called it observation, a heightened awareness that bordered on precognition. As Team 7 began their journey back to Konoha, Naruto maintained a vigilant watch, his senses extended to detect any pursuit from Akatsuki. The encounter had been illuminating in several ways. He now had a measure of Kasame's abilities, which would prove useful when they inevitably met again. More importantly, he'd confirmed something about Samehada. The sentient sword had reacted to him, had recognized something in his chakra that excited it. 3 of the 7 swords were now in his possession. A 4th had acknowledged his strength. The path to collecting all 7 was becoming clearer. The return journey to Konoha took longer than expected, primarily due to Naruto's navigational challenges whenever he took point. Despite having traveled the route just a day earlier, he consistently chose wrong turns, insisting that landmarks had shifted overnight. I swear that mountain was on the left yesterday, he insisted, pointing to a distinctive peak that had definitely been on their right during the outbound journey. The mountain didn't move, Naruto, Sakura sighed. Your internal compass is just broken. Nothing wrong with my compass, he muttered. The world keeps rearranging itself. Upon reaching Konoha, Kakashi immediately reported to Tsunade, while the genin were dismissed to rest and recover. Naruto, however, didn't go home. Instead, he headed directly to a secluded training ground, intent on developing countermeasures against Samehada's chakra-absorbing abilities. Hours later, as dusk fell, Jiraiya found him there, surrounded by trees that had been sliced with such precision that they remained standing despite being cut completely through. "Heard you had a run-in with Akatsuki," the Sannin greeted, leaning against an undamaged tree. "Impressive that you survived, let alone injured Kasame." Naruto paused his training, lowering the Kiba blades he'd been experimenting with. "Samahada is the problem. Absorbs chakra on contact, nullifies ninjutsu. That's why most who face Kasame try to keep their distance," Jiraiya agreed, though that plays into his massive chakra reserves and large-scale water techniques. "Need to overload it," Naruto mused, studying the lightning-attuned swords in his hands. "Feed it more chakra than it can absorb at once." Jiraiya raised an eyebrow. "Interesting approach. Most would try to avoid chakra contact altogether. Won't work. Samahada senses chakra at a distance, drawn to it." Naruto's green eyes narrowed in concentration. "But every system has a limit. Exceed that limit." "And it breaks down," Jiraiya finished. "Risky strategy, though. Samahada's absorption capacity is legendary. You'd need enormous chakra reserves to overwhelm it." "Have them," Naruto stated with simple confidence. "Nine Tails chakra as a last resort." This casual reference to the tailed beast sealed within him caught Jiraiya by surprise. Naruto rarely acknowledged the Nine Tails, preferring to rely on his own strength rather than the fox's power. "So you're finally considering using it?" "If necessary," Naruto qualified. "Prefer my own power, but against Samahada, might need the fox's chakra as a distraction. Feed it that while striking with pure physical force." The strategic thinking behind this approach impressed Jiraiya. Most shinobi, especially those Naruto's age, approach combat with a straightforward mentality. Use your strongest techniques and hope they overpower the opponent. Naruto, however, analyzed his enemy's abilities and developed specific counter-tactics. "I might be able to help with that," the Sannin offered. "There are ways to access small amounts of the Nine Tails chakra without losing control." Naruto considered this. "Show me." For the next several hours, Jiraiya guided Naruto through meditation techniques designed to safely tap into the Nine Tails' power. Unlike previous jinchūriki training, which often focused on communicating with or subjugating the tailed beast, these exercises treated the fox's chakra as simply another resource, like drawing water from a well without speaking to the water itself. "The key is intent," Jiraiya explained. "Don't try to control the Nine Tails directly. Just draw on its chakra the same way you channel your own through your swords." Naruto nodded, understanding immediately. This approach aligned perfectly with his swordsman's philosophy. A blade didn't need to be persuaded or controlled through conversation. It responded to the wielder's will and intent. By midnight, he had successfully accessed a small portion of the Nine Tails chakra, manifesting it as a faint red aura around his body. Unlike the uncontrolled outbursts that had occasionally occurred during moments of extreme emotion, this chakra responded to his direction, flowing where he guided it. "Good," Jiraiya approved. "Now try channeling it through one of your swords." Naruto drew the Kubikiribocho, focusing the red chakra into the massive blade. The executioner's sword seemed to resonate with the energy, its edge glowing with a crimson light that complemented its usual absorption of blood. "Interesting," the Sannin observed. "The sword accepts the Nine Tails chakra without resistance. Most weapons would deteriorate under that corrosive influence." "It's adapted to blood absorption," Naruto explained. "Nine Tails chakra is similar. Potent, vital energy." He executed a practice swing, and the Kubikiribocho cut through the air with such force that a nearby boulder split in half despite being several meters away from the blade's path. "Powerful," Naruto acknowledged, studying the sword with newfound appreciation. "But predictable. Samahada would sense this immediately." "That could work to your advantage," Jiraiya pointed out. "If Samahada becomes fixated on absorbing the Nine Tails chakra, it might leave Kasame vulnerable to conventional attacks." Naruto nodded, already formulating strategies based on this insight. "Need to test it in actual combat." "Let's hope that doesn't happen too soon," Jiraiya cautioned. "Akatsuki's interest in you is concerning. They're collecting jinchūriki for some purpose, and you're clearly on their list." "Let them come," Naruto replied, resheathing the Kubikiribocho. "Each encounter makes me stronger." The Sannin studied his unusual student with a mixture of admiration and concern. Naruto's confidence wasn't the bravado of youth, but the calculated assessment of a veteran warrior. Somehow, this boy had developed not just techniques, but a warrior's mindset that shinobi twice his age rarely achieved. "There's something I've been meaning to ask you," Jiraiya ventured. "Your sword style, Santoryu, you claim to have created it, yet it seems fully developed with named techniques and sophisticated applications. How is that possible?" For a brief moment, confusion flickered across Naruto's usually impassive face. He frowned, as if trying to access memories that remained just out of reach. "I've always known it, since I was small." "But children don't just inherently know complex fighting styles," Jiraiya pressed. "They're learned through training and experience." Maybe for most people. Naruto's expression closed off again. "For me, it was always there, like breathing." Before Jiraiya could pursue this line of questioning further, a messenger appeared at the edge of the training ground. "Naruto Uzumaki," the Chunin called. "Lady Hokage requests your presence immediately." Naruto nodded, gathering his swords. "We'll continue this training another time," he told Jiraiya, who watched thoughtfully as his student departed. The seinen remained in the training ground long after Naruto had gone, contemplating the puzzle of the boy's inexplicable abilities. There were theories, of course: reincarnation, genetic memory, or perhaps some effect of the nine tails, sealing that had imparted combat knowledge. But none fully explained the comprehensive nature of Naruto's swordsmanship, or the occasional references he made to concepts that shouldn't exist in the shinobi world. "What are you, Naruto Uzumaki?" Jiraiya murmured to the empty clearing. "And what will you become?" At the Hokage Tower, Naruto found not only Tsunade but also Kakashi and, surprisingly, Sasuke waiting for him. "Good, you're here," Tsunade said without preamble. "We have a situation. Orochimaru has made his move." "Explain," Naruto requested, noting Sasuke's unusually tense posture. "4 shinobi from the Sound Village infiltrated Konoha tonight," Kakashi elaborated. "They approached Sasuke with an offer from Orochimaru, power in exchange for defection." Naruto's green eyes shifted to his teammate. "And I refused," Sasuke stated, though something in his voice suggested the decision hadn't been easy. But they were convincing. They demonstrated abilities granted by Orochimaru's cursed seal, transformations that multiplied their strength exponentially. "They've retreated beyond our borders," Tsunade continued. "But intelligence suggests they'll return. Orochimaru wants Sasuke as his next vessel, and he won't be deterred by one refusal." "So we eliminate them," Naruto concluded simply. "Cut off Orochimaru's arms before they can reach what they want." "Precisely," Tsunade nodded. "I'm assigning you, Sasuke, and 3 other genin to pursue and neutralize these Sound Four. Shikamaru Nara will lead the team, with Kiba Inuzuka and Choji Akimichi rounding out the squad." "Why not send Jonin?" Naruto questioned. "Because most of our Jonin are deployed on critical missions following the invasion," Tsunade explained. "Our forces are stretched thin. Additionally, the Sound Four will be expecting Jonin pursuers. A genin team might catch them off guard." "When do we leave?" "Immediately. Shikamaru is gathering the others at the main gate. You'll move out as soon as everyone arrives." Naruto nodded, then turned to Sasuke. "You're certain about refusing Orochimaru? His power would help you kill Itachi." The directness of the question caught Sasuke off guard. Yes, I won't be his puppet, even for revenge." "Good," Naruto approved, surprising everyone present. "Power at the cost of freedom isn't power at all. It's just another form of weakness." With that philosophical observation, he headed for the door. "Let's go, Uchiha. Time to hunt some snakes." At the village gates, Shikamaru was briefing Kiba and Choji on the mission when Naruto and Sasuke arrived. The Nara genius had already been promoted to Chunin following his strategic performance in the Chunin exams, making him the logical choice to lead this pursuit team. "Troublesome," Shikamaru sighed upon seeing them. "I was hoping we'd have more time to prepare, but the enemy has at least a 2-hour head start." "We'll catch them," Naruto stated with certainty. "They're moving with a purpose, following a plan. That makes them predictable." "True," Shikamaru acknowledged. "My analysis suggests they're heading toward the Valley of the End, the border between the Land of Fire and the Land of Sound. If we move quickly and directly, we can intercept them before they cross." "Then let's move," Kiba urged, Akamaru barking in agreement from atop his head. "My nose can track them once we get close enough." As the team prepared to depart, Sakura appeared, rushing toward them with evident distress. "Sasuke-kun, Naruto, wait!" "Sakura," Sasuke acknowledged. "What are you doing here?" "I heard about the mission," she explained, catching her breath. "I want to come too. I can help." Shikamaru shook his head. 5 is already pushing the limits of a pursuit squad's optimal size. 6 would compromise our stealth and speed. "Besides," Naruto added, uncharacteristically gentle for him, "someone needs to tell Kakashi where we've gone if reinforcements become necessary." Sakura looked ready to protest further, but something in Naruto's steady green gaze gave her pause. "Just promise me you'll both come back safely." "Count on it," Sasuke assured her with rare warmth. Naruto simply nodded, then turned to Shikamaru. "We're wasting time. Let's go." The pursuit team moved out, leaping through the trees at maximum speed. Shikamaru had devised a formation that placed Kiba at the front for tracking, himself in the center for tactical coordination, and Naruto at the rear as their strongest combat asset in case of ambush. For several hours, they maintained this pace without incident, gradually closing the gap between themselves and their targets. As dawn broke, Kiba confirmed they were less than 30 minutes behind the Sound Four. "They've stopped moving," he reported, sniffing the air carefully. "About 5 kilometers ahead. Might be setting an ambush." "Or resting," Shikamaru suggested. "They've been traveling all night, same as us. Even enhanced by cursed seals, they'd need to recover sometime." "Perfect opportunity," Naruto stated. "Attack while they're vulnerable." Shikamaru nodded, quickly formulating a strategy. "We'll approach from multiple directions. Kiba and Akamaru from the north, Choji from the east, Sasuke and I from the west, and Naruto from the south. Surround and overwhelm them before they can activate their curse-mark transformations." The team separated according to plan, each member taking their assigned approach vector. Naruto moved silently through the trees, the Kubikirabocho drawn and ready for immediate action. As he neared the enemy's position, he slowed, extending his senses to gather information before engaging. The Sound Four had indeed stopped to rest in a small clearing. Naruto could make out 4 distinct figures: a large man with a mohawk, a 6-armed shinobi, a kunoichi with long red hair, and a pale, sickly-looking man with white hair. They appeared to be arguing among themselves, unaware of the approaching threat. Naruto waited for Shikamaru's signal, a specially designed flash bomb that would emit a brief, coded pattern of light visible to the pursuit team, but easily missed by others. When it came, he moved immediately, bursting from the tree line with blinding speed. "Itoryu, Sanjiroku Pound Ho." The 36-pound cannon technique launched a compressed air slash that cut through the clearing, forcing the Sound Four to scatter in surprise. Before they could regroup, the rest of the pursuit team emerged from their positions, executing a perfectly coordinated attack. Shadow Possession Jutsu. Shikamaru's shadow stretched across the ground, capturing the 6-armed shinobi momentarily. Fang over fang. Kiba and Akamaru transformed into twin drilling tornadoes, targeting the large man with the mohawk. Expansion Jutsu, Human Boulder. Choji inflated and rolled toward the red-haired kunoichi with devastating momentum. Fire Style, Phoenix Flower Jutsu. Sasuke launched multiple fireballs at the pale, sickly man, who dodged with surprising agility despite his apparent weakness. The initial assault was perfectly executed, but the Sound Four recovered quickly, revealing why they were Orochimaru's elite guards. Earth Style, Earth Dome Prison. The large man, Jirobo, created a dome of earth that trapped Kiba and Akamaru, neutralizing their attack. Spider Web Net. The 6-armed Kidomaru broke free of Shikamaru's shadow possession and launched a sticky golden substance that immobilized the Nara strategist. Demon Flute, Phantom Sound Chains. The red-haired Tayuya played a haunting melody on her flute, creating invisible bindings that wrapped around Choji, halting his rolling attack. The sickly man, Sakon, engaged Sasuke directly, matching the Uchiha's speed despite his frail appearance. Remember us, Sasuke? This is just a taste of the power Lord Orochimaru offers. Only Naruto remained unimpeded, having anticipated the counterattack. He assessed the situation instantly. His teammates were temporarily neutralized, but not defeated. The Sound Four had revealed their basic abilities, but hadn't yet activated their cursed seal transformations. The opportunity was clear. Santoryu. In a fluid motion too fast for most eyes to follow, Naruto drew all three of his regular katanas, assuming his signature stance with one sword in each hand and the third clenched between his teeth. Onigiri! The demon slash technique targeted Sakon, who was closest and engaged with Sasuke. The triple-bladed attack moved with such speed and precision that the sound ninja had no time to dodge. All three swords connected simultaneously, opening deep wounds across his chest and forcing him away from Sasuke. What the? Sakon gasped, blood pouring from his injuries. How did he? Focus on him, Kidomaru shouted, recognizing the immediate threat. This one's dangerous. All four sound ninja redirected their attention to Naruto, momentarily releasing their holds on the other pursuit team members. It was exactly what the green-eyed swordsman had intended. Now! He called around the sword in his mouth, a signal his teammates instantly understood. As the sound four converged on Naruto, the freed Konoha ninja executed their secondary attack plan. Shikamaru's shadow shot out again, this time capturing Tayuya. Kiba and Akamaru, released from the Earth Dome, targeted Jirobo with renewed ferocity. Choji expanded his fist to massive proportions, striking Kidomaru before he could spin more of his golden web. Sasuke, his Sharingan activated, engaged the wounded Sakon with a Chidori prepared in his hand. Naruto himself stood his ground as the four elite sound ninja attempted to surround him. His green eyes tracked their movements with preternatural accuracy, his three swords moving in perfect harmony to counter each attack as it came. Impossible, Tayuya snarled, breaking free of Shikamaru's shadow to launch a genjutsu attack with her flute. No one can fight all four of us simultaneously. I'm not fighting all of you, Naruto replied calmly around the sword in his mouth. I'm hunting you. There was something in his tone, an absolute certainty, a predatory focus, that sent chills down the spines of even these hardened killers. For a brief moment, they didn't see a genin before them, but something else, a demon of the blade, a hunter whose prey had already been claimed. Enough playing around, Sakon decided, clutching his bleeding chest. Second state. All four sound ninja activated their cursed seals simultaneously, their skin darkening as black flame-like markings spread across their bodies. This first transformation increased their strength and speed significantly, but they didn't stop there. The markings continued to spread until they underwent complete metamorphosis, Jirobo becoming a hulking orange-skinned giant, Kidomaru transforming into a spider-like creature, Tayuya growing horns and elongated fingers, and Sakon merging with his twin brother Ukon to create a two-headed, multi-armed monstrosity. Now you'll see true power, Jirobo growled, his voice deeper and more bestial in this form. The pursuit team regrouped around Shikamaru, all except Naruto, who remained where he stood, seemingly unimpressed by the transformations. Troublesome, Shikamaru muttered, quickly assessing their options. Their chakra levels and physical abilities have at least tripled. We need to separate them and defeat them individually. Agreed, Sasuke nodded, his Sharingan tracking the enhanced movements of their opponents. Each of us takes one. I'll take the big one, Choji volunteered, already preparing his family's secret three-colored pills. The spider guy is mine, Kiba declared, Akamaru growling in agreement. I'll handle the genjutsu user, Shikamaru decided. Sasuke, you take the twins. Naruto, I'll take all of them, the green-eyed swordsman interrupted. Don't be absurd, Sasuke objected. Even you can't fight four transformed opponents simultaneously. Watch me, Naruto replied, resheathing his three katanas and drawing the Kiba blades instead. Lightning began to crackle along the twin swords as he channeled chakra through them. You four handle any reinforcements that might arrive. These ones are mine. Before anyone could argue further, Naruto charged directly into the midst of the transformed sound four. Nitoryu, Rashomon! The lightning gate technique created an X-shaped slash of electrical energy that forced the sound ninja to scatter, momentarily separating them. Naruto capitalized immediately, pursuing Jirobo first as the largest and presumably slowest target. Nitoryu, Saman! The twin sword drawing technique struck before Jirobo could establish his earth-based defenses, cutting deep into his transformed body despite its enhanced durability. The big man roared in pain, retaliating with a massive punch that could have shattered boulders. Naruto simply wasn't there when the blow landed, having already moved to engage Kidomaru, who was preparing a ranged attack from a nearby tree. How is he so fast? The Spider-Man wondered aloud, launching a barrage of hardened golden arrows from his transformed mouth. Even with our second state active, His observation was cut short as Naruto appeared directly in front of him, having sliced through all the incoming projectiles. Nitoryu, Nigiri Hirameki! The flash attack severed 2 of Kidomaru's 6 arms before he could react, golden blood spraying from the wounds. The sound ninja howled in agony, retreating further into the canopy to reassess this unexpected threat. Meanwhile, Tayuya had summoned her Doki, 3 monstrous creatures controlled by her flute. She directed them toward Naruto with a specialized melody, confident that even the skilled swordsman couldn't fight on multiple fronts simultaneously. She was wrong. Nitoryu, Nanajuni Pound Ho! The 72-pound cannon technique released a massive wave of slashing energy that cut through all 3 Doki at once, reducing them to summoning smoke. Before Tayuya could process this development, Naruto was before her, the Kiba blades crackling with intensifying lightning. Impossible, she gasped, raising her flute in a desperate defensive gesture. No one can move that fast between targets. I'm not moving between targets, Naruto corrected, electricity illuminating his cold green eyes. I'm moving through them. The Kiba blades descended in a perfect cross-slash that would have ended Tayuya's life if Sakon and Ukon hadn't intervened, their transformed body pushing her aside and taking the blow instead. The twin swords cut deep into their merged form, electricity coursing through them and temporarily paralyzing their unique cellular structure. He's too dangerous, Sakon gasped to his teammates. We need to retreat and regroup. For the first time, the elite Sound Four, Orochimaru's personal guard, found themselves outmatched by a single opponent. Even with their cursed seal transformations active, they couldn't land a significant blow on the green-eyed swordsmen, who moved through their attacks as if they were occurring in slow motion. Fall back to position 3, Kidomaru ordered, clutching his severed arms. We'll use that formation. The 4 transformed ninja leapt away, attempting to create distance for their coordinated technique. Naruto pursued without hesitation, resheathing the Kiba blades and drawing the Kubikiri Bocho instead. The massive executioner's blade seemed to sing through the air as he channeled chakra into it, preparing for his finishing move. Running away won't save you, he called after them, his voice carrying easily through the forest. A hunter always catches his prey. The Sound Four reached a small clearing and immediately arranged themselves in a square formation, each performing complex hand signs. 4 Violet Flames formation, they shouted in unison, creating a purple barrier that enclosed them just as Naruto arrived. A defensive barrier? He studied the technique with clinical detachment. Interesting, but futile. The Kubikiri Bocho began to glow with an intense blue light as Naruto channeled massive amounts of chakra into the legendary blade. The sword resonated with the energy, its partially healed seams disappearing completely as it achieved perfect integration with its wielder's intent. Itoryu Ogi Daishinkan. The great dragon shock technique struck the barrier with cataclysmic force. For a moment, the purple energy field held. Then hairline cracks appeared across its surface, spreading rapidly until the entire barrier shattered like glass. The Sound Four stared in disbelief as their ultimate defense technique, which had withstood even Jonin-level attacks in the past, collapsed before a single sword strike. What are you? Tayuya whispered, genuine fear in her voice. Naruto stepped through the shattered barrier, the Kubikiri Bocho resting casually on his shoulder despite its enormous weight. I told you! A hunter! No, Sakon disagreed, blood dripping from his earlier wounds. You're something else, something not human. A ghost of a smile crossed Naruto's usually stoic face. Maybe, or maybe you're just weak. Before the confrontation could continue, a new presence arrived. A pale-skinned man with white hair and 2 red dots on his forehead, wearing traditional clothing with a large purple rope belt. Kimimaro, Jirobo identified their reinforcement. What are you doing here? You're supposed to be confined to bed, the newcomer finished. Lord Orochimaru's need outweighs my condition. I see you 4 have failed in your mission, as expected. This one, Kidomaru gestured toward Naruto. He's not normal. He broke through the 4 Violet Flames formation with a single attack. Kimimaro studied Naruto with clinical interest. I see. A swordsman of unusual skill, the green eyes are distinctive as well. He coughed suddenly, blood speckling his hand. No matter, I'll handle him while you four continue the mission. Retrieve Sasuke Uchiha at all costs. Too late, Naruto informed him, gesturing behind him where the rest of the pursuit team had caught up. Sasuke isn't going anywhere with you. Kimimoro's expression didn't change, but his killing intent spiked noticeably. Then I'll simply have to kill you all and take him by force. Bone blades erupted from the pale man's palms as he assumed a combat stance. Dance of the Camellia. He moved with astonishing speed despite his evident illness, attacking Naruto with a flurry of precise thrusts and slashes. The green-eyed swordsman parried each strike with the Kubikiri Bocho, metal ringing against bone in a deadly symphony. Kaguya clan, Naruto identified, recognizing the Kekkei Genkai. Dead bone pulse. Thought your clan was extinct. I am the last, Kimimaro confirmed, continuing his relentless assault. And I will not fail Lord Orochimaru. While they engaged, the Sound Four attempted to use the distraction to target Sasuke. They quickly discovered that the rest of the pursuit team had significantly improved since their initial encounter. Shikamaru trapped Tayuya in his shadow possession technique, enhancing it with a shadow strangle jutsu that cut off her ability to play her flute. Choji, having taken his clan's red pill, transformed into a giant of lean muscle, overpowering Jirobo with raw strength. Kiba and Akamaru's coordinated attacks overwhelmed Kidomaru, whose reduced number of arms severely limited his combat effectiveness. Sasuke himself engaged Sakon and Ukon, his Sharingan allowing him to predict and counter their unique cellular fusion attacks. Meanwhile, Naruto's duel with Kimimaro intensified. The Kaguya clan member was undeniably skilled, his bone manipulation techniques creating weapons that could change shape and trajectory mid-attack. Despite his terminal illness, he moved with grace and precision that would have challenged most jonin. You're good, Naruto acknowledged, parrying another bone lance. But dying, your lungs are failing, blood in your coughs, minutes left at most. Time enough to complete my mission, Kimimaro replied, activating the first stage of his cursed seal. Black markings spread across his pale skin, enhancing his already formidable abilities. Dance of the Clematis, Vine. His spine extended from his back, forming a flexible whip-like weapon that wrapped around the Kubikiri Bocho. Attempting to immobilize it, Naruto simply released the massive sword, letting it hang suspended in Kimimaro's spine whip, and drew the Kiba blades in one fluid motion. Nitoryu, Kaminari Rashomon. The lightning gate technique struck Kimimaro directly, electricity coursing through his body and the bone constructs connected to it. The Kaguya warrior staggered backward, momentarily paralyzed by the electrical attack. Interesting, he coughed, more blood speckling his lips. You've adapted to the situation instantly. Most shinobi would have struggled to free their primary weapon. Most shinobi rely on a single approach, Naruto replied, lightning still crackling along the Kiba blades. A true swordsman adapts. Kimimaro released the Kubikiri Bocho from his spine whip, allowing it to fall to the ground. Then I shall adapt as well. Second state. His transformation was more dramatic than the Sound Fours had been. His skin darkened to gray, his hair lengthened, and most significantly, bone spikes erupted all over his body, creating a natural armor more formidable than steel. Dance of the Clematis, Flower. A massive drill of bone formed around his left arm, spiraling into a point that could penetrate any defense. With his right hand, he drew a bone sword of unusual density, creating a combination of offense and defense that seemed unassailable. Your lightning won't penetrate this armor, Kimimaro stated. These bones are harder than tempered steel. Naruto studied his opponent's transformation with clinical interest. Every defense has a weakness, every bone has a breaking point. He resheathed the Kiba blades and reclaimed the Kubikiri Bocho, channeling chakra into the massive sword until it glowed with an intense blue light. Let's test the limits of your Kekkei Genkai. Their weapons clashed with earth-shaking force, legendary steel against indestructible bone. Each impact created shock waves that flattened the surrounding vegetation and forced the other combatants to create distance. Despite his enhanced state, Kimimaro found himself slowly being pushed back. The green-eyed swordsman's strikes carried impossible power for someone his size, and more concerning, They were gradually chipping away at his bone constructs, something that should have been physically impossible. How? Kimimaro questioned during a momentary separation. These bones are the hardest substance in the human body, enhanced further by my cursed seal. Nothing should be able to damage them. Nothing is unbreakable, Naruto replied. It's just a question of applying enough force at the right point. As if to demonstrate, he assumed a stance that Kimimaro hadn't seen before. Feet planted firmly, the Kubikiri Bocho held at his side with both hands, its edge facing upward. Itoryu Ogi. Chakra swirled visibly around the blade, condensing into a pattern reminiscent of a dragon's scales. Kimimaro recognized the danger immediately and launched his ultimate technique. Dance of the Seedling Fern. Countless bone spikes erupted from the ground, creating a forest of sharp protrusions that spread outward from the Kaguya warrior. It was a technique that transformed the entire battlefield into a weapon, leaving no safe ground for an opponent. Naruto remained unmoved as the bone spikes approached his position. His focus was absolute, his green eyes tracking the pattern of their emergence with preternatural awareness. Shi. The bone spikes reached him, threatening to impale him from all directions simultaneously. Sansen! The lion song technique moved faster than the human eye could follow. One moment, Naruto stood surrounded by approaching bone spikes. The next, he was behind Kimimaro, the Kubikiri Bocho completing its arc in a perfect drawing slash. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then a diagonal line appeared across Kimimaro's chest, cutting through his bone armor as if it were paper. Blood sprayed from the wound as the Kaguya warrior staggered forward, his transformation receding as his chakra faltered. Impossible, he gasped, collapsing to his knees. You cut through my strongest defense. As I said, Naruto replied, flicking blood from the Kubikiri Bocho's edge, which the sword eagerly absorbed. Nothing is unbreakable. Kimimaro coughed violently, more blood splattering the ground before him. His illness, accelerated by the intense chakra expenditure of his transformation, was claiming him rapidly now. It seems I failed Lord Orochimaru after all. You were dying before this battle began, Naruto observed, no mockery in his tone, merely stating a fact. Your loyalty is admirable if misplaced. A faint smile crossed Kimimaro's blood-flecked lips. Loyalty is all that remains when everything else is lost. With those words, the last member of the Kaguya clan collapsed, his remarkable Keigenkai returning to the earth from which it had sprung. Meanwhile, the Sound Four had fared no better against the rest of the pursuit team. Tayuya lay unconscious, her flute shattered by Shikamaru's shadow techniques. Jirobo had been literally crushed by Choji's enhanced strength, his transformed body returning to human form in death. Kidomaru's spider-like form was riddled with fang marks from Kiba and Akamaru's coordinated attacks, golden blood pooling beneath him. Only Sakon and Ukon remained, their merged form gravely wounded, but still fighting against Sasuke's relentless assault. It's over, the Uchiha informed them, his Sharingan tracking their increasingly desperate movements. Your reinforcement has fallen. Surrender now. Never, the twins snarled in unison. Lord Orochimaru will have your body, one way or another. They lunged forward in a final suicidal attack. Sasuke's hands flashed through seals, chakra gathering in his palm. Chidori! The lightning blade pierced directly through the twins' chest, silencing both hearts simultaneously. As they collapsed, their cursed seal transformation receding in death, Sasuke extracted his hand from their body with a grimace of distaste. That's the last of them, he reported as the pursuit team regrouped. Shikamaru surveyed the battlefield, his tactical mind already analyzing the aftermath. We should collect any intelligence materials they might be carrying. Orochimaru's cursed seal technology, in particular, would be valuable information for Lady Tsunade. And the bodies? Choji asked, having returned to his normal size after the battle, though looking significantly thinner from the effects of his clan's pills. Sealed and transported back to Konoha, Shikamaru decided. Their Kekkei Genkai and transformations should be studied to better prepare for future encounters with Orochimaru's forces. While the others handled this grim but necessary task, Naruto approached Sasuke, who stood staring at the fallen form of Kimimaro. You made the right choice, the green-eyed swordsman stated without preamble, rejecting Orochimaru's offer. Sasuke glanced at him, surprised by the unprompted comment. You think so? Even though it might have made me strong enough to defeat Itachi sooner? That kind of power comes with chains, Naruto replied, his gaze distant. True strength isn't borrowed or stolen. It's earned through struggle and tempered by will. Something about these words resonated deeply with Sasuke. It was as if Naruto was speaking from experience, from wisdom earned through trials beyond his apparent years. How did you get so strong? The Uchiha asked quietly. Without shortcuts, without Kekkei Genkai, without anything but determination and training. Naruto was silent for a long moment, his green eyes focused on something beyond the physical world around them. I made a promise, he said finally, to become the world's greatest swordsman. Every day, every training session, every battle, they're all steps toward fulfilling that promise. To whom? Sasuke pressed. Who did you promise? A flicker of confusion crossed Naruto's face. He frowned, as if trying to access memories that remained just beyond reach. To myself, I suppose, and to someone important. Before Sasuke could inquire further, Shikamaru called them over to help with the sealing of the bodies. The moment of unusual openness passed, and Naruto returned to his typical taciturn demeanor as they prepared for the journey back to Konoha. The return journey was significantly slower than their pursuit had been. Choji required regular rest periods to recover from the effects of the 3 colored pills, and they all bore minor injuries that hampered their speed. Naruto, as usual, got them lost several times when taking point, insisting that landmarks had shifted since their outbound journey. For the last time, mountains don't move overnight, Kiba exclaimed in exasperation after their 3rd unnecessary detour. This one did, Naruto insisted, pointing at a distinctive peak. It was definitely on the other side yesterday. Your internal compass isn't just broken, it's actively sabotaging us, Shikamaru sighed. Troublesome. Kiba, you take point for the rest of the journey. Despite these navigational challenges, they eventually reached Konoha, delivering their mission report directly to Tsunade. The Hokage listened with growing concern as Shikamaru detailed the abilities of Orochimaru's elite guards and their single-minded focus on acquiring Sasuke. You did well, she concluded after the report was complete. Eliminating the Sound Four and this Kimimaro character has significantly weakened Orochimaru's forces. More importantly, you've demonstrated to him that taking Sasuke won't be as simple as he anticipated. He'll try again, Naruto stated with certainty. Snake doesn't give up on prey easily. No doubt, Tsunade agreed, which is why I'm implementing new security protocols. Sasuke, you'll be under Anbu surveillance for the foreseeable future. Not as a prisoner, she clarified, seeing his expression darken, but as protection against further abduction attempts. And the rest of us? Shikamaru asked. Take 2 days to rest and recover. After that, normal mission rotations resume. Her gaze settled on Naruto. Except for you. I have a special assignment in mind. Once the others had been dismissed, Tsunade explained Naruto's new mission. Intelligence has identified another of the 7 swords of the mist. The new Abari, the sewing needle, has surfaced in a coastal town near the Land of Waves. Its current wielder is a missing 9 from Kiri who's been terrorizing shipping lanes. Naruto's green eyes lit up with rare interest. When do I leave? Tomorrow. And you won't be going alone. Tsunade shuffled some papers on her desk. Given your directional challenges, I'm assigning Hinata Hyuga as your partner. Her Byakugan should ensure you actually reach your destination. Don't need a partner, Naruto objected. Especially not a Hyuga. Still holding a grudge after I defeated Neji. This isn't negotiable, Tsunade stated firmly. Besides, Hinata specifically requested to be assigned to your team when the opportunity arose. This information caught Naruto by surprise. Why would she do that? Perhaps you should ask her yourself, Tsunade suggested with a knowing smile. She'll meet you at the East Gate at dawn. Try not to get lost on the way there. Naruto frowned but didn't argue further. Another of the 7 swords was within reach, and that took priority over any personal preferences regarding teammates. The following morning, Naruto arrived at the East Gate only an hour late, a personal best for him, to find Hinata Hyuga waiting patiently. The shy Hyuga heiress fidgeted with her fingers when she saw him approaching, her pale eyes downcast. Good morning, Naruto-kun, she greeted, her voice barely above a whisper. Morning, he replied, adjusting the multiple swords strapped to his back. You know the mission? She nodded. Lady Tsunade briefed me yesterday. We're to locate and neutralize a missing nin who possesses one of the legendary swords you're collecting. There was no judgment in her tone, merely statement of fact. Naruto appreciated this directness. Nuabari, he confirmed. The sewing needle, thinnest of the 7 swords, designed for precision piercing and long-range manipulation via attached wire. You know so much about them, Hinata observed, genuine admiration in her voice. Studied them for years, Naruto replied, beginning to walk. When Hinata gently redirected him toward the actual road out of the village rather than toward the Hokage monument, he didn't comment on the correction. Each sword has unique properties. Understanding them is key to mastering them. As they traveled, Hinata proved to be a surprisingly comfortable companion. Unlike many of his peers, she didn't feel the need to fill silence with constant chatter, allowing Naruto to focus on his thoughts. When she did speak, her questions were thoughtful and relevant, demonstrating a genuine interest in his swordsmanship rather than mere politeness. Why do you place the white-hilted katana in your mouth rather than using a more conventional 3-sword technique? She asked during a rest break on their first day of travel. Santoryu requires it, Naruto explained, removing the sword in question from its sheath to show her. Balance, power, control. The Wado Ichimonji is the perfect weight and length for the mouth position. Wado Ichimonji? Hinata repeated. I thought it was just a regular katana. Naruto looked momentarily confused, as if he'd spoken without thinking. That's what I call it, he clarified. Named all my swords. What are the others called? Sandai Kitetsu and Yubashiri, he replied automatically, then frowned slightly. At least, that's what they feel like they should be called. Hinata didn't press the issue, sensing his discomfort. Instead, she activated her Byakugan briefly to scan their surroundings. We're making good progress. If we maintain this pace, we should reach the coastal town by tomorrow evening. If the road stopped moving, Naruto muttered. To his surprise, Hinata didn't dismiss this statement as everyone else did. It must be frustrating, she said instead, feeling like the world shifts around you when no one else can see it. Her empathy, offered without condescension, caught Naruto off guard. It does, he admitted. Like being the only sane person in a world gone mad. I know the mountain was on the left yesterday, but suddenly it's on the right, and everyone tells me I'm wrong. Perhaps it's a matter of perspective, Hinata suggested gently. Not that you're wrong, but that you perceive directions differently than others. This thoughtful response was so unlike the dismissive reactions he usually received that Naruto found himself regarding the Hyuga heiress with newfound respect. For the remainder of their journey, he was noticeably less irritated when she corrected their course, accepting her guidance without his usual insistence that landmarks had moved overnight. They reached the coastal town of Shimanomashi by sunset the following day. It was a bustling port similar to the one in the Land of Waves, though larger and more prosperous. Ships from across the elemental nations docked here to trade goods, making it a hub of commercial activity and an attractive target for pirates and missing nin. We should gather information before approaching the target directly, Hinata suggested as they checked into a small inn near the harbor. My Byakugan can help locate him once we have a better description. Naruto nodded, his gaze drawn repeatedly to the ocean visible from their window. Something about the endless blue expanse stirred emotions he couldn't quite name. Nostalgia, perhaps, or a sense of belonging that made no logical sense for someone who had grown up in a landlocked village. You're drawn to it, Hinata observed softly. The sea. Always have been, Naruto admitted, uncharacteristically open. Feels like home somehow, though I've barely seen it before. Hinata studied him with her perceptive pale eyes. There are legends of souls born with memories of past lives, she ventured carefully. People who feel connections to places they've never been, skills they've never learned. For a brief moment, something flickered across Naruto's usually impassive face. Recognition, perhaps, or a glimpse of understanding quickly suppressed. Then his expression closed off again, returning to its typical stoicism. Just a feeling, he dismissed. Not important. Let's focus on the mission. They spent the evening gathering intelligence in local establishments frequented by sailors and fishermen. The missing 9 they sought had made quite a reputation for himself. Kushimaru Kuriarare, a former member of Kiri's Anbu and one of the original 7 swordsmen, believed long dead but recently resurfaced. They call him the Suing Shadow, a grizzled fisherman informed them after Naruto purchased several rounds of sake. Attacks at night, threads his victims together like macabre puppets. 23 ships hit in the past month alone. Where does he strike from? Naruto questioned, sipping his own sake with remarkable tolerance for someone his age. Land ambush or direct ship assault? Both, depending on his mood. Has a hideout somewhere along the northern cliffs, they say, but no one who's gone looking has returned. Armed with this information, they return to their inn to plan their approach. Hinata spread a map of the coastline on the small table between their beds, marking locations of recent attacks. There's a pattern, she observed, her analytical mind finding connections that others might miss. He strikes within this radius, always during the new moon when visibility is lowest. And tomorrow night, new moon, Naruto finished, studying the map. Perfect timing. But the area to search is still substantial, Hinata continued. Even with my Byakugan, finding his exact hideout could take days. Naruto considered this, then offered an unexpected solution. We don't find him. We let him find us. You mean use ourselves as bait? Hinata looked uncertain. That's risky. Calculated risk, he corrected. Small fishing boat, just the 2 of us, in his hunting grounds during the new moon. Too tempting to resist. But if he attacks from a distance with the Nuibari, we might not have time to react. Naruto's green eyes gleamed with confidence. He won't attack from a distance, not when he recognizes these. He gestured to the legendary sword strapped to his back. A true swordsman can't resist testing himself against worthy blades. The plan was set. The following evening, they rented a small fishing boat and sailed into the area where Kushimaru was known to hunt. With the new moon leaving the sky nearly pitch black, they relied on Hinata's Byakugan to navigate the coastal waters, deliberately making themselves an appealing target. 3 kilometers along the cliff face, Hinata whispered, her Dujutsu active. There's a cave entrance partially hidden by overhanging rocks. I can see chakra movement inside. One person with an unusual chakra signature centered around what appears to be a long, thin object. Nuibari, Naruto confirmed. He's home. They guided their boat closer to the shoreline, maintaining the pretense of being simple fishermen who had strayed into dangerous waters. Naruto had concealed his more distinctive swords, the Kubikira Bocho and Kiba blades, beneath the tarp, leaving only his 3 regular katanas visible at his hip. He's moving, Hinata reported suddenly. Coming toward the cave entrance. I think he's spotted us. Naruto nodded, his hand resting casually on his sword hilts. Good. Remember the plan. Act frightened when he appears. Make him believe we're easy prey. They didn't have to wait long. A slender figure emerged from the shadows of the cliff face, standing atop the water's surface as easily as solid ground. Even in the near darkness, the distinctive shape of the Nuibari was unmistakable. A long, needle-like blade with wire threaded through its eye, gleaming faintly in the starlight. Well, called a voice distorted by a porcelain mask decorated with wave patterns. What have we here? Lost little fishermen out for an evening catch? Who's there? Hinata called back, playing her role perfectly with a convincing tremor in her voice. We're just fishing. We don't want any trouble. Trouble has found you regardless, the masked figure replied, advancing across the water's surface toward their boat. Though you've chosen an unfortunate night to trespass in my hunting grounds. As he drew closer, the moonless sky briefly illuminated by distant lightning, they could make out more details. A tall, lanky figure wearing a sleeveless black bodysuit with striped arm warmers and bandages wrapped around his neck. The mask concealed his entire face, giving him a ghostly appearance as he seemed to glide across the water. Kushimaru Kuriarare, Naruto identified, dropping the frightened fisherman act. Former 7 swordsman of the mist, wielder of Nuibari. The masked figure paused. Oh, not ordinary fisherman after all, it seems. His head tilted slightly as he studied Naruto more carefully. Those swords at your hip, a practitioner of Santoryu? How unusual in these waters. You know of it? Naruto asked, genuine curiosity in his voice. Legends reach even Kiri's Anbu, Kushimaru replied. Tales from distant lands of a demon who fought with 3 swords, one clenched between his teeth. I dismissed them as fanciful exaggerations. Perhaps I was wrong. He twirled the Nuibari casually between his fingers, the attached wire dancing around him like a living thing. Show me this 3-sword style, boy. Entertain me before you die. Naruto's green eyes narrowed with focus. Hinata, move to shore. This water is about to become a battlefield. The Hyuga heiress nodded, leaping from the boat onto the nearby beach in a single chakra-enhanced jump. Naruto followed, landing on the water's surface opposite Kushimaru. Just you and me now, he stated, drawing all 3 of his katanas and assuming his Santoryu stance, 1 sword in each hand and the 3rd clenched between his teeth. Blade against blade. Interesting, Kushimaru mused, his voice echoing slightly behind his mask. But Nuibari isn't just a blade. It's an extension of my will, a needle that sews the tapestry of death itself. With lightning speed, he launched his attack. The needle-like sword shot forward, propelled by chakra, trailing its wire behind it. It moved with such precision that it seemed to target vital points specifically, aiming to pierce rather than slash. Santoryu Toragari. Naruto's tiger hunting technique intercepted the Nuibari mid-flight, deflecting it with a perfectly timed triple slash. The legendary sword spun away, but Kushimaru manipulated the attached wire with expert control, changing its trajectory to attack from a different angle. Impressive reflexes, the masked swordsman acknowledged, but Nuibari attacks from all directions simultaneously. The wire suddenly split into multiple strands, each as sharp as a razor, forming a web-like pattern that surrounded Naruto from all sides. It was a technique designed to be inescapable. The more the target struggled, the more entangled they became. But Naruto didn't struggle. Instead, he remained perfectly still, his green eyes tracking the movement of each wire strand with preternatural awareness. When Kushimaru contracted the wire net to slice him to pieces, Naruto executed his counter. Santoryu Tatsumaki. The Dragon Twister technique created a tornado-like vortex of slashing attacks that extended outward from his position. The wire strands were caught in this vortex, their momentum redirected into a spiral pattern that followed Naruto's blade movements. What? Kushimaru exclaimed, feeling control of his weapon slipping. How are you manipulating my wire? Not manipulating, Naruto corrected around the sword in his mouth. Redirecting. Wind follows the path of least resistance, so does your wire. With a final twist of his 3 blades, Naruto sent the wire spiraling back toward its owner, forcing Kushimaru to leap away to avoid being entangled in his own technique. The Nuibari returned to its master's hand, the wire retracting into the specialized mechanism built into its hilt. You're not an ordinary swordsman, Kushimaru observed, his posture more cautious now. Those techniques, they shouldn't be possible with standard katanas. Not about the swords, Naruto replied. About the wielder. He charged across the water's surface, all 3 blades moving in perfect harmony as he closed the distance between them. Santoryu Onigiri. The demon slash technique forced Kushimaru to defend directly for the first time. He brought Nuibari up to parry, its slender form seemingly inadequate against 3 simultaneous slashing attacks. Yet the legendary sword held, reinforced by the missing Nin's exceptional chakra control. The Nuibari may be thin, Kushimaru stated as they separated after the clash, but it's stronger than any ordinary blade. One of the 7 swords isn't so easily broken. I know, Naruto acknowledged. I already have 3 of them. This statement caught Kushimaru by surprise. 3? Impossible. Most of the 7 were lost after the last great war, returned to Kiri, or hidden away. In response, Naruto leapt back to the fishing boat and removed the tarp covering his other weapons. The Kubikirabocho and the Kiba blades gleamed in the starlight, their legendary forms unmistakable even in the darkness. The Executioner's blade and the Thunder Swords, Kushimaru breathed, genuine shock evident in his voice despite the mask. How did a brat like you acquire such treasures? Took them from those who couldn't use them properly, Naruto replied, returning to the water's surface with the Kubikirabocho now drawn instead of his 3 katanas. Just like I'll take Nuibari from you. The masked swordsman's demeanor changed instantly, killing intent radiating from him in palpable waves. You disrespect the legacy of the 7 swordsmen. Those blades belong to Kiri. Swords don't belong to villages, Naruto countered. They belong to those worthy of wielding them. The blades themselves choose. Childish fantasy, Kushimaru spat. Blades are tools, weapons to be mastered by skill and training. That's why you'll lose, Naruto stated with absolute certainty. You see Nuibari as a tool. I see my swords as partners. The philosophical difference seemed to enrage Kushimaru further. He launched his most devastating technique, manipulating Nuibari with unprecedented speed and precision. The needle-like sword became nearly invisible as it darted through the air, striking from multiple angles simultaneously, while its wire created an increasingly complex web around Naruto. Sewing burial technique. The wire web contracted with explosive force, designed to dice anything caught within it into bloody pieces. It was Kushimaru's ultimate attack, one that had ended countless lives throughout his bloody career. But Naruto wasn't within the wire web when it contracted. Somehow, he had perceived the pattern of its deployment and moved through the only safe path, a gap no larger than a handspan that existed for less than a second during the technique's execution. Impossible, Kushimaru gasped as Naruto appeared directly before him, the Kubikira raised for a decisive strike. No one can read the sewing burial's pattern. It's mathematically perfect. Mathematics don't account for intent, Naruto replied. Your technique revealed your killing pattern before the wires ever moved. This insight, this seemingly impossible awareness of attack patterns before they physically manifested, was what truly separated Naruto from ordinary swordsmen. It wasn't just speed or strength or technique, but a form of perception that transcended normal human limitations. Itori Shishi Sanson. The lion song technique struck with devastating precision, targeting the exact point where Kushimaru's defense was weakest. The Kubikira moved faster than the eye could track, its massive blade somehow defying its weight to execute a perfect drawing slash. Blood sprayed across the water's surface as the technique connected, cutting through Kushimaru's bodysuit and the flesh beneath. The masked swordsman staggered backward, Nuibari nearly slipping from his grasp. Not done yet, he gasped, blood seeping from beneath his mask. Nuibari has tasted the blood of hundreds. It won't surrender to you so easily. It already has, Naruto observed, noting how the needle-like sword trembled in Kushimaru's grip, as if struggling its wielder's control. It recognizes true strength when it encounters it. With a cry of rage, Kushimaru launched one final, desperate attack. Nuibari shot forward with all his remaining strength, aiming directly for Naruto's heart. Itoryu, Daishinkan! The great dragon shock technique met Nuibari head-on. For a brief moment, the two legendary blades contested. Then the Kubikira continued its arc, slicing through Kushimaru's chest in a perfect diagonal cut. The masked swordsman collapsed, blood pooling beneath him on the water's surface. As life ebbed from the former Kiri Anbu, Nuibari slipped from his nerveless fingers, sinking beneath the waves. Naruto calmly reached down, retrieving the needle-like sword before it could descend into the depths. The moment his hand closed around its hilt, Nuibari seemed to pulse with recognition. The wire attached to its eye moved of its own accord, briefly wrapping around Naruto's wrist before settling into a coiled position, as if accepting its new master. 4 of 7, Naruto murmured, studying the legendary sword with satisfaction. More than halfway there. Hinata approached cautiously across the water's surface, her Byakugan confirming that Kushimaru was dead. That was incredible, she said softly. I've never seen swordsmanship like that. Naruto nodded absently, still focused on his new acquisition. Nuibari is special, designed for precision and control rather than raw power. Will complement the others nicely. What will you do with his body? Hinata asked, gesturing to Kushimaru's fallen form. Take his mask as proof of the mission, Naruto decided. Leave the rest for the ocean. Fitting for a missed swordsman. As they prepared to return to shore, Hinata hesitated. Naruto-kun, there's something I've wanted to ask you. He glanced at her, securing Nuibari alongside his other legendary swords. What? Your fighting style, your connection to these swords. It's like you've lived another life entirely, one where you were already a master swordsman. She met his green eyes directly, her natural shyness overcome by genuine concern. Doesn't it ever confuse you? Having skills and knowledge you can't explain? The question struck closer to home than she could have realized. Naruto was silent for a long moment, staring out at the vast ocean stretching before them. Sometimes, he admitted finally, sometimes I dream of places I've never been, a ship with a figurehead like a sheep or a lion, crew members whose faces I can't quite see, but whose voices feel familiar, battles against opponents who could split the sky with their attacks. It was the most he'd ever revealed about the strange fragments of memory that occasionally surfaced in his mind, images and sensations that made no sense in the context of his life, yet felt more real than many of his actual experiences. And when I wake up, he continued, his voice uncharacteristically thoughtful, the dreams fade, but the knowledge remains. How to hold a sword, how to cut steel, how to sense an opponent's intent before they move. Hinata listened without interruption, offering silent support through her attentive presence. I've stopped questioning it, Naruto concluded, resheathing the Kubikira Bocho on his back. These skills help me protect what matters and achieve my dream. That's enough. To become the world's greatest swordsman, Hinata recalled his frequently stated ambition. Naruto nodded. Nothing else matters until that's accomplished. As they returned to shore, their mission successfully completed, neither noticed the faint outline of 3 katanas that momentarily appeared as a spectral image beside Naruto's actual swords, an echo of another existence where a green-haired swordsman had once pursued the same dream across endless blue seas. The moment passed, reality reasserting itself, leaving only the green-eyed Jinchūriki with his growing collection of legendary blades and his unwavering determination to master them all. The path of the swordsman continued, one blade at a time, one battle at a time, guided by memories that weren't quite memories, and a promise that transcended lifetimes.
The blade's edge never dulls, and neither does this legend. Naruto's journey as the reincarnated swordsman has only just begun, with more blood to spill and enemies to conquer. If you felt that intensity, if those techniques made your heart race, then you know what comes next. Subscribe for more epic battles and witness how a true warrior reshapes destiny.